Going to be our
Just
new
the
person
dryness
in the
totally messes up
little
my
room. All right,
sinuses.
okay. Good deal.
Call to order this workshop for the 2026 Board Rules and Procedures for the Siloam Springs Board of Directors. Roll call.
Blair.
Here.
Burns.
Here.
Wiles.
Here.
Hunt.
Here.
Rissler. Allen.
Here.
Carroll.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum, so we will proceed. And Christina, I will turn this over to you.
Thank you. This evening, we have scheduled time for the board to discuss its rules and procedures and what they would like to see included or not in those. Thank you.
Okay, so directors, I will kind of leave it up to you. Would we like to just go through each section and say, okay, is there any changes or comments that you want to make? Is that kind of?
I believe what we've done is we've provided you what is been provided as the resolution, which incorporated the changes we were requested to add.
Right.
However, there were some additional changes that came in that were emailed to everyone yesterday.
Okay.
And those specific changes would need to be added to the resolution should you decide to add those to the board rules. And if you would like to start at the top and go through the changes, you can add or remove whatever you would like.
Madam Mayor.
Yes, Betsy.
So what was sent yesterday and what was added to the other stuff was stuff, the things that were added were things that y'all had seen before, and then Christina just incorporated them. As far as the thing that y'all were sent yesterday, was something I've been working on and reworking and talked to people in HR, in other places, et cetera. And then the attorney went through to make sure everything was legal and on the up and up, and she went through and edited, and she suggested if y'all choose to, if we choose to add at the end as the last category or whatever, what was emailed yesterday. So that's all.
You mean,
That's this.
That is this, okay.
Yeah.
what was sent yesterday is not in what's in the board packet?
No, it's not, because the attorney just had a chance to look over the final copy of it after she and I had spoken. It's kind of difficult because how to do it, because everything is subject to Freedom of Information Act, and so we want to make sure that we're not violating anything. And so this was the final copy after she looked through it and felt like this was legal and would not violate any Freedom of Information Act or any other legal thing.
So if I understand right then, Betsy, what we have in front of us, this policy in addressing board member conduct would actually be added to or an addendum to the rules of order and procedures. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
If we choose to.
If the board chooses, okay.
It
all
would
right.
be the last, the letter J or something like that, or A.
Madam Mayor. So, and I apologize, I was not here last time, and I haven't had a chance to watch. But the
We didn't go
standards-
over this last time.
Okay, okay,
No, we didn't.
okay,
There were too many
wasn't here
people
either.
missing, so
okay, thank you.
Put off.
But the standards of conduct, that's what you added, right, Betsy? Within the packet, the information that's in the packet?
right. It was things I had handed out to y'all before, like
yeah, I
do's and
recall.
don'ts and things like that. Just,
Right.
it makes it more clear what, like, the city administrator's job is, our job is, what to do, what not to do. It just,
So that is more standards of conduct, and this is if there's an issue, how to address that
yes,
conduct.
exactly. So, yes.
what the attorney gave us, okay.
Right.
Anyone have a comment or,
Got a question, Madam Mayor?
okay, David?
Betsy, of what is in our board packet, what was added by the attorney besides, did last pay, or what we got yesterday, was that written by the attorney or was it approved by the attorney?
What we got yesterday was the attorney took what I had and she edited it and reworked it so that it was appropriate and legal and did not violate anything. So she, this
Strictly
page,
Piece of paper, this.
yeah, this
page
is
right
what
here.
the attorney, yeah, reworked and was sent to everybody yesterday.
Was there anything in our board rules proposal in the board packet that was proposed or written by the attorney that was not proposed by you?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, I sent it,
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, there was. And that had to do with just the readings where the mayor had discussed adding.
That's
so
what I
that-
thought.
Okay.
That's the point I want to make. It's on
Yes.
page 5. The number 5 readings, it's completely antithesis of what state law says regarding having 3 separate meetings. I don't understand why the attorney would add this, except maybe she's aware of it being a state law. I would like to see the state law that says that this is possible, but the way it's written is that we can make a motion at the first of the year that all ordinance readings for the entire year can pass with 1 reading. They do not have to have a second meeting or a third meeting. If we get to an ordinance, say in May or June, that one of us says, well, I would kind of like to have a third reading or more than 1 reading, we actually have to vote as a board and it pass to go to more than 1 reading. Now, I've never heard of this. There's been an awful lot of mistakes brought up by the attorney getting confused with mayor, council form of government, and I would like to see where this comes from, because this is the opposite of being transparent and allowing the public to have 3 separate meetings to come speak about a subject.
I can ask for clarification, but I believe the intent was only to make it so that you didn't have to suspend the rules and read by title only, was the intent. So I can ask her to review.
That's not what it says, though, Christina. That's not how it reads.
Okay.
As it reads is that at the first meeting, we can pass with a 2/3 majority to suspend the rule for the entire year, that 3 different meetings have to be for every ordinance. Ordinances introduced during that calendar year may be read fewer than three times, including by title only, unless those are required by state law. Notwithstanding the annual suspension of the reading requirement, any ordinance raising substantive opposition or concern may be accepted from the suspension upon the adoption of a motion made by any director. Upon majority approval of such motion, the ordinance shall be subject to additional readings and considerations at 2 or more meetings. So this is the complete opposite of what we've always done, and will take even more time in that every single ordinance that any of us want to have more than just 1 reading, which I believe most of us would, simply because it's always been in the benefit of the citizens to have more than 1 reading. We will have to have a motion second and it pass by a majority to then have it added for a second meeting at the next meeting. I'm blown away that this is even included. And it frustrates me that we've had a good system, a good setup, it's worked. And now we have something added that is not creating anything helpful or quicker to get through. I mean, we're supposed to be serving the public, and this goes right against that whole thing.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
So I met with Christine today, and we talked about this, and my understanding was that your understanding was that I think the way David's reading it, that I agree with the way you're reading it. I didn't read it when we talked about it today, but I thought your understanding was that it didn't affect the 3 readings. It just affected how the title was read, so there would still be 3 but you're right, I don't think it's worded
Correctly.
in such a way that we wouldn't still have 3 readings, and I agree that, so for the reasons behind the 3 readings, and that we need to continue that.
So we can do one of 2 things. We can either revert that back to the way it was, or we can ask it to be rewritten so that it is clear that it is only suspending the rules for reading the title and nothing else.
I am confused, Christina, as to what you're referring to on the readings.
My understanding was, so, and Mayor, correct me if I'm wrong, but her conversation with you was that this was something that could be put into place to where after each ordinance reading, I just read the title, or
That's
whoever's
what
sitting
we've
here.
always done.
Okay, but sometimes it doesn't pass, and so there's a lengthy reading. All that does is supposed to do is eliminate that, because if you want it read, the whole thing, that's where somebody has to say they want it read.
Madam Mayor?
Not just the title, the whole ordinance.
That
Apparently-
only occurs if there's not a 2/3
Correct.
passage.
Correct.
It's very rarely happened, and that's not the way this is written. But my question is, why would this have been added anyway? Was this your request, or was this Heather's request?
No, just for clarification, Heather, after what, 2 board meetings ago, I believe it was, we had that it didn't pass by the 2/3, and so we ended up reading the whole thing. And so Christina and Heather and I were having a conversation about that. And Heather told us that there were some cities that at the first of the year, when they did their rules, that they incorporated that so that it wasn't something that you had to make a part of your motion as we do now. It just automatically would be suspending the rules and reading by title only unless a director said, I would like to have the ordinance in its entirety read. So that's how it came about, that we would bring it to the board to see if that was something you all wanted to do or not do. So that's how it came about and why it was put in here, just for you all to consider that.
Well, there's been a lot of things in the last 6, 7 months. Things that could be written with 2 sentences, and our attorney writes them with 5 paragraphs. And it's over-explanatory, and usually it's the opposite of what we wanted. I recall what you're talking about in that Christina had to read the thing, it took forever. But before that, there was a confusion in that you had been told something by the attorney on having to read something, and you thought you understood what she'd said, and then come to find out that, no, that never, so
that is correct.
I think there's nothing wrong with how we've done it, in that if there is not 2/3, I mean, it's very rarely happened, and often it is caused by not wanting it to be read. It's caused a board member to flip their vote, which is understandable.
That is correct.
But that's not what this is saying. This is saying that future boards, say that 10 years from now, and none of us are here, can vote at the first of the year that every single ordinance that's brought up can be read one time and pass.
That is
And
what it's.
that's,
I don't
And
think that was
you're right,
anyone's
that is,
intention.
that is what it says. Reading it, that is exactly what it says, and that,
I
as
don't
Christina
think
said, was not
rewriting
the,
it is going to fix it. I think
Yeah.
this should be struck completely.
And we can absolutely do that because this was, as I said, this was just a discussion that was had, that it was something that was available to the board to vote on if they wanted to, but was not something that had to be done because what we were doing would suffice. I mean, it was
Well,
fine. It
I
was
often
just-
think
yeah.
just because there is the chance to do something, or it can be done, doesn't mean it should be done. And
Yeah,
if this is
absolutely.
a state law, if this is approved by the state legislature, legislatures, that a city can do this, Christina, I'm asking you to please ask the attorney to provide us that state law. I would like to read when it came into effect, the actual wordage, and because I'm really lost as to why the state legislature would offer that option. Because it's just odd that they can approve it one time at the beginning of the year and for the full year. And so I'm just saying, for future boards, I don't think any of us want the public to be short shrifted on having a say in at least 2 meetings, but we don't even try to do that unless it's housekeeping or something that no one's had objection to in the first reading.
I have no qualms at all about reverting to the old wording, which just basically says that
Yeah, that we have 3
Yeah,
readings, that
yeah.
every ordinance will have 3 readings.
Yep.
Unless, after the first reading, the majority of the board would ask for the second and third, which is
Yes.
what we have done.
Well, the original
In the
says
past,
all
yeah.
readings shall be read aloud at 3 different meetings unless the board of directors votes to suspend the rules. And then the next page says the following guidelines for reading ordinances are recommended. Unless there's clearly no opposition or concern about the ordinance, it should be read and open for public discussion during at least 2 board of directors meetings.
Yeah.
And so that's already in our board rules that we've had since 23 or 24.
So what I'm hearing and is what I think probably the board is more comfortable with is if we leave it as it was and do not make that change at all. We just leave it as it is so that, and Christina, that's easily fixed. Just revert back to the original.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Yes, sir. Anyone else? Is there any discussion on the new addition of the policy on addressing board member conduct that would be added to your rules of order and procedures?
I did have another question before we get to that.
Okay.
On the letter F, city administrator relationship, the very bottom, number 4, administrator evaluation has been added, I think. I just think it's weird to have it all written as sentences in paragraphs, and then it's bullet points. I don't know, I didn't know if there was a better way to format it. I think this is saying the board is supposed to do a formal evaluation.
That is correct. This is the administrator evaluation, what is the responsibilities of, concerning the relationship between the board and the administrator. This is addressing the evaluation by the board of the administrator.
I just think it would be better if it was written to actually be somewhat formatted like the other paragraphs. And I think letter D is too vague. Ensure the administrator is empowered and not micromanaged. That doesn't have anything to do with evaluation.
Gotcha.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Brad?
so on this roles and boundaries, can we just take it from the top? I don't know if any other citizens out there even know what we're discussing.
Can you tell us where you are? Like, is there a topic that says rules and boundaries?
Are you talking about the whole thing, or are you just talking about the new addition?
About the new addition.
Gotcha.
I'm aware of the whole thing. I think
Sure.
we pointed a couple of those things out. And
Right.
I agree in the readings. I think David
back to it.
Cameron did one because I didn't change a vote, and then recently Christina did an excellent job with long and lats of the surface of that property. And it doesn't happen that, I mean, I have a problem with that, and I agree on, I'm looking at roles and boundaries, and some of that, and then some of it needs to have just more structure flow like we have here, right?
Okay, so what page are you looking at, Brad?
I'm looking at the new,
Just the new.
I'm looking at the
Gotcha.
new right here.
Are you at standards and
Policy on addressing board member conduct, the one that we just got.
This is what is in the board packet. It's number 4, standards of conduct. That's the first.
I'm sorry, close
that's-
that, went
that's
to an
the
email.
first real ongoing. It comes after number 2, conflict of interest, number 3, responsibility to all citizens, and then it goes into standards of conduct, standards for conduct. And it's over a page. But that's inserted in to our current board goals, and I think it goes from there.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
can I just
Linda.
ask for clarification one more time? Betsy, you had said that, did you send a version of the policy on addressing board member conduct? Okay, so this is in addition to what's
Right,
already in
this-
here, the standards for conduct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just want to make
Yes,
sure.
that is right. So I see what you're at, where you're at now. You're under responsibility to all citizens. Then it lists standards of conduct.
Isn't that the new
Yes.
stuff from here
No,
on?
no. The new stuff, this is your responsibility to citizens. This is what you're elected to do. This new is it's strictly a guideline for addressing,
Talking about new as of
yes, the
yesterday.
new one, yes. Strictly addressing board interaction with each other and conduct.
My
for each
question
other.
is that where Brad wants to start? Because what
Yeah.
we just talked about, standards of conduct, that's all new too. That's new to the board rules. That's not in the old board rules that we've had.
The respect and professionalism, meeting conduct, is that correct? Is that
Everything
what you're
with
looking at?
everything with bullet points is all new proposal for our board rules.
It looks like it's on page 7 in the board packet. I mean, 7 of the board rules.
Yeah, page
Which would be
7.
62 in the board packet.
Yeah. So all of that's new. Okay, Brad, so what you're asking is that this particular section where we talk about the standards for conduct, that we read those out loud so that the citizens are aware of what's in there, is that correct?
I mean, isn't that the purpose of transparency here? If we're making a change, then to me, I mean, we need to be on record of making that change, because right now, we're just having an open discussion,
Right?
and there's nobody out there understanding anything that we're saying. I mean, they're just kind of guessing right now, I'm assuming. So it feels like if we're making a change to this resolution, then we probably should, be on record for what are those changes, and then we can make any correctives, that we would like to see to that. Would make more sense to me.
I second that.
I
Well, I've
have
been
no
wrong
problem with
before.
reading this.
Yeah.
I
Right.
don't mind reading this out loud, and then I guess as you cross something that you guys want to discuss, just let me know and.
Let
we'll-
you know?
Yeah.
Well, Betsy asked for the workshop. Maybe we should ask Betsy, what do you want us to do next, Betsy?
Oh, I don't know that I necessarily asked for the workshop. I just, it doesn't matter to me. This is up to everybody. So, yeah, I mean, these are just the things that I'd passed out before, that had been discussed previously. And then I turned it over to Christina, and she incorporated it. I mean, I think reading the new stuff, so the citizens know what we're talking about. And then if there are things y'all don't like, we can take them out.
Madam Mayor?
Okay, so, yes, Mindy.
Well, thank you, Betsy, for putting this together. These are things that you have discussed, and we have sort of discussed on and off. What if we just take each section, like respect and professionalism, and Christina reads those, and then we can provide input just one section at a time, so that we're not reading all of it at the same time? Does that work?
I think that's, I mean, I believe everybody is agreeable to that, and much easier for Christina, I think, than so.
Yes.
All right, so Christina?
So on page 7, number 4, standards for conduct. A, respect and professionalism. Treat fellow directors, staff, and the administrator with respect inside and outside meetings. Debate policies, not personalities. Communication must be respectful, timely, and professional. Directors must present information accurately and honestly. Directors shall not misrepresent city actions, staff positions, or board decisions. No knowingly misleading statements to the board, staff, or public. All relevant information must be disclosed during the deliberations, not withheld or selectively shared. It is encouraged to ask city administrator to share information regarding agenda items with each of the directors on the board.
Madam Mayor?
Oh, yes, Betsy?
Part of that, the last part in the parentheses about encouraging the city administrator. So when I ask a question about an agenda item, that's why, or then I tend to ask the city administrator, will you share this with everybody? So hopefully going into the meeting, if I've thought of something y'all haven't thought of and I have information on it, then everybody would have it, which is why y'all keep getting extra emails when I ask questions.
So is everyone comfortable with that section?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Brad?
is there a better way to word 7, or do we have to?
I don't know, would you like?
I don't know either. I'm just looking at the flow of this, and I'm just thinking, excuse me, boards, moving forward, and I'm thinking of this document, and I'm thinking the hard copy that we have, and when I start seeing things at the end in parentheses, I just think, is that does 7, is that a second sentence for 7, or are we happy with that one there? Because when I read this, all relevant information must be disclosed during deliberations, not withheld or selectively shared. To me, that covers that, but I could be wrong. Maybe my mind's simple, so.
I just added it for clarification in case somebody doesn't think of it. I mean, it could be worded, take out the parentheses, all relevant information shall be disclosed during deliberations and shall not be withheld or selectively shared. Directors are encouraged to request that the city administrator provide relevant agenda-related information to the full board.
When I see that, it just feels, because when I think of rules, procedures, standard operating procedures, it just has a flow to it. When you start putting things in quotations or parentheses, it feels like, it's saying something else,
And
so.
I will admit, I did not necessarily expect everything to go in just as I wrote it. So I'm fine with taking out the parentheses and rewording it, or
I like what you said, when you talked about with selectively shared, period. Directors are encouraged to ask city administrator to share information regarding agenda items with each of the directors on the board.
Just take out the parentheses and
Take
make
out
it
the
a separate
parentheses.
sentence.
Right, yep.
But what I was going to say is
Yes.
if we're not sure how it should be read, maybe we put a pin in it and come back and think about it, and got approval at the end of the meeting, we could,
Yeah, because that's whenever you're actually going to consider
Yeah.
voting on it, so Al,
but the-
absolutely,
the most minor, though, is take out the parentheses.
right.
Yeah.
Madam Mayor,
Yes,
to Betsy's point that she wasn't necessarily thinking that this would go in word for word, the only thing that I would do, and this is strictly editorial, and so the rest of you may not agree with me and it's fine, but I would just make all those statements parallel in structure. So treat, debate, communicate with respect in a timely and professional manner, present information accurately and honestly, do not misrepresent, do not make misleading statements. That's what it,
Oh, I see. So take out the directors should and just, yeah. I mean,
or it can start with, under respect and professionalism, directors are to, and then 1, treat fellow directors, staff, and administrative responsibility. 2, debate personalities, debate policies, not personalities. It's strictly editorial. I know I get a hard time for that.
Madam Mayor?
yes, Brad.
It's that, but you've got to forgive me because, my background is, the other side of the world. And so when we see procedures or policy, in this case, it needs to have flow. And so as a future board, us included, because we're going to have to make some changes, but future board members, as they review that, it just has, it just has a better memory. And so that application will be easier to make. So when you read that policy on standard of conduct, it just has good flow. It's
Parallel
going to click
structure.
in your brain better. Yeah, I would agree.
And possibly, with Mindy's background, she could turn it into a paragraph. And then,
I'd be happy to do that. Do you want it paragraphs like the rest of them, or do you want the numbers like it is now?
I think it's just very odd to have, we're looking here under Code of Ethics, letter G, and we have a number 1 and a number 2 and a number 3 as paragraphs, and then suddenly number 4 is nothing but bullet points. That's where I get a little hinky about.
I'm happy to do that. I don't know when we have to establish these. I probably wouldn't be able to do it before we have to vote on it tonight.
Well, and we may have to,
You can pass it, okay, because we've got to have these in place. But you can make changes to those. Once you've voted on them and we're moving forward with that, that doesn't keep you from making amendments or changes to that in your next meeting. So you're not tied into this, okay? If we pass it like this is set in stone. No, you're the board, you can change this if you want to, when you want to. So with a majority vote, that's,
can we go on to the next one, meeting conduct?
sure.
Meeting conduct. Speak only when recognized by the mayor. Stay on agenda topics. Avoid repeating argument or dominating discussion. Respect time limits equally. Accept majority decisions once votes are taken. Public representation. Directors may not claim to speak for the board unless specifically authorized. Personal opinions must be clearly identified as such. No use of position to intimidate, coerce, or influence staff or external partners. Prohibited conduct. No harassment or intimidation, including yelling, cursing, or aggressive language, threats or implied threats, hostile remarks about job performance, using one's position to pressure or influence staff. no ambush-style encounters, parking lots, hallways, off hours, no private confrontations or attempts to discipline staff, including administrator, no intimidation, pressure, or verbal attacks against the administrator, no retaliation for reporting concerns or following procedures, no use of illness, absence, or timing to avoid accountability.
Madam Mayor, I do
Yes,
have a question
Mindy?
about that one. Under prohibited, well, obviously that's prohibited conduct. No private confrontations or attempts to discipline staff, including administrator, or no intimidation, pressure, or verbal attacks against the administrator. Don't we want that behavior to apply to all staff?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
Yes.
okay.
So add that under,
So basically, just no private confrontations or attempts to discipline any staff, and no intimidation, pressure, or verbal attacks against any staff. Right? Okay.
Correct.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, Brad.
So along with that one there is that, you know, we just got back, Reed and I just got back from AML, and so, you know, we're a body. So as we go underneath that, any correctives that we make are not done individually. They're brought here, and we do that, you know, collectively. And I know we're a right-to-work state, and I know, you know, after talking with folks down in Little Rock, a couple of them, you know, we're on the radar because of our form of government, right? But the way I look at this standard of conduct, specifically prohibited conduct, is, in my observation, and it is simply, the city administrator is a city employee. And so our city employees have access to HR, and I know I think of my years with the city and how we've moved, you know, into this administrative building and how we expanded this and the rules and regulations that are out there now, and what the department heads have to manage, and what my personal level, you know, as a human being, and when I was at the firehouse, my tolerance level for some things, you know, probably would not fly in HR in this day and age. So, you know, it is a task. But I feel like, you know, the city administrator, as we're going through this, they are human beings. They do have rights. And there, you know, there's a limit. They need downtime. I just think of the last two that I'm familiar with, well, last three, actually. I think of David Cameron, you know, he had a lot of heavy stuff on his plate. Patterson had the same thing. Gilbert had the same thing. I don't have a problem with any of them. Why they moved on, they've moved on. It's the past. This is the future. But this, to me, this is, you know, that person has rights. We are a body. We do the correctives. If there's something wrong, you know, I would ask on the agenda to go to executive session, right? That's where we do our correctives. But when we put this in a written format, kind of expounding upon what we had, it is just, again, a reminder that, and myself included specifically, is that, you know, I can't fall into a pattern, right? That's what it's helping us not fall into that pattern. I can't talk firehouse to the city administrator, right? Because it's not acceptable. And I don't use, you know, VFW or American Legion Hall language at a board meeting. Although it's tempting, but it, you know, it's just so you have to re-gear that format. And that's when we read this out loud, that's what it reminds me. It reminds me of that's where it's at. I think it's important, not only we have to do it at the end of the year, but to make these revisions for the candidates that are applying to know that they're coming into this. This is the expectation they can have, and anything that they may have heard or scuttlebutt, it is in the past. This is, we're in a new year and we're moving forward. So that's how I perceive this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, other than those two changes, where it says, instead of just including the administrator, it would be any staff for those two items, okay.
So ethics and conflicts. Directors must disclose conflicts of interest promptly, including if any immediate family member would benefit, including parent, spouse, child, sibling, grandparent, grandchild, life or business partner. Recusal is required when conflict exists as required by law or ethics standards. No leveraging relationships or positions for personal, financial, or political gain.
Madam Mayor,
Yes,
I think there's something about recusing somewhere else. Isn't there?
There is.
And not that it can't be in two places, but does it ask in the other place that we give a reason for recusal? So does it need to in both places? Okay, here we go. Page 3. A member may abstain from voting if he or she has not participated in the preceding discussion of the question, if that member has, and if that member has previously stated the reason for the abstention.
Yeah, recusal should not be there, but it doesn't go into what you're supposed to be referencing here. It just says it's required when conflicts exist. Is this regarding a vote, or is it regarding everywhere you go in the city? I mean, it doesn't really.
That's a question. What, is this recusal referring to the vote? Or is it referring to just generally speaking?
Well, and the one before just says must disclose conflicts of interest. Well, who do you disclose it to?
Yes, yeah. So are
It's
those
pretty vague.
during meetings or?
That's my thought, was it just expanded a little bit on what's already in the board rules, but it can come out was, for voting, for meeting purposes. And I admit, I forget, is abstain the proper term rather than recusal?
Abstain is what we used before, or previously in this. So we probably should be consistent with terminology.
Okay. Yeah.
If you all do want me to take this and kind of rework it in more paragraph format, I can do that, and I'll just change it there.
And I'm good with that. And so I'm a little conflicted. I understand, most of it is in paragraph form. I mean, there are areas where it bullet points. Part of where it lists like 1 through 7 or 1 through 5. If I see it in a paragraph form, and I'll be honest, I'm going to skim it and I'm probably going to miss parts of it. That's part of the reason I like the numbers or bullet points, is it's quicker and easier for me to read and make sure I get it. But I'm fine either way with however y'all want to do it.
Well, look at the bottom of page 8 and then over on page 9. It's not unprecedented that we do have numbers in places. K, staff interaction rules. Under J, if approached by an employee, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So.
But, I mean, like I said, I'm fine.
Or were those yours too?
I think
Actually.
I think, yeah.
That's
I think
yours too, isn't it? Okay.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit further up in board rules, but there's not a lot. So I understand the desire to have it consistent.
What
Yeah.
Mindy pointed out, the bullet points on orientation, That's in the original.
It isn't,
Yeah.
well, no, I'm not
No,
sure that it is.
I'm just saying, you were saying we have precedents that we do have bullet points. Yeah, it's in
Okay.
the original.
Okay, yeah.
It's not like we've never had them.
Right, but my skimming and missing things, that's my issue, and I'm responsible for it, so, I mean, I'm fine, like I said, if y'all want to do paragraphs. I'm just grateful for somebody else to do some editing.
No, I mean, I understand both sides. I
do.
think the whole reason for bullet points is so that it draws attention to what's in them. So I can give a couple options. How about that?
That would be awesome.
So if you look back at the old, I mean, you know, on D, old business, new business, it's a letter, so maybe it's the consistency of that letter.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then we do parentheses, and then we do numerical.
Yep.
And I totally get it. There are some areas there where it could be the paragraph to be cleaner, but very specific is part of the problem solving, which is part of this, so we don't fall into a pattern moving forward. And times are changing. There's all sorts of information platforms out there, so the simplicity and making it very clear on this new section is, it just has to have a little better flow, so that's, you know, and I'm sure you can do that.
I will work on simplicity, consistency, and flow.
You didn't have to do all three, but it'd be
No,
great
we
if you
do.
did, if you did
No.
more than three.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mindy.
Okay, Christina?
Handling issues. Issues between board members, staff, or involving the administrator must follow formal documented processes.
What is that? What is a formal documented process? Just saying that doesn't really tell us unless it's further on.
Well, part of the, between board members, that would be this extra thing that was,
That's not
Yeah.
what, that, it says staff or involving the administrator, issues.
and I guess, well, involving the administrator would be like an executive session or, you know, that's our formal process. I'm happy for it to be changed.
Are you talking about documented processes like with, because you were mentioning staff in this, are you talking about what's documented in the employee handbook? Or are you talking about what's incorporated in the board's rules of policies and procedures? Whenever you, because you include staff in that, so to me, that would be my question, whenever we list board members, staff, or involving the administrator must follow formal documented processes. Are those processes, I say, in the handbook, or are they the processes that are outlined in the board's policies and procedures?
Yes.
And
All of the above.
All of the above.
Some of this, obviously, I haven't thought of what the formal processes are, but
Okay.
making sure everything's documented. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Could you
Madam Mayor?
just say I'm sorry.
Yeah, Brad?
I think, could you just say be documented?
When it comes to, because this is specifically us, so when I read that, if you take out staff, it's issued between board members involving the city administrator must follow a formal documentation process, because we clearly stated at the beginning, right, of this whole thing is that our communication, I mean, that's a whole corrective here, is I'm not communicating with staff, I'm communicating with the city administrator. So in the handling of issues, it goes directly to the city administrator. That's our flow chart, right?
So if you do communicate with staff under the city administrator, then that should be documented or handled.
Yeah, I'm not having a problem with it. I just probably won't abide by it. I talk to a lot of staff people.
Oh.
Because, I've been with the city a long time. I was at Walmart today, and I talked to somebody from the electrical department. I'm directly involved with my passion for certain things in the fire service. And, there's just a lot of stuff there. So
And- when
we talk about issues, I think
Yeah.
on this one here, if you just, it feels like we should just strike that, because for me, that's not how it flows.
And issues and talking to somebody are different.
Issues are city issues.
Right, problems.
And-
But
and-
the whole,
And if you see somebody at Walmart, you're not going to talk about a city issue that we're going to be voting on. That's what she's talking about, I think, on handling issues.
and the whole thing, like I said before, I'm fine to take that out or take out staff or whatever.
I just feel like, since last year, and where we are today, is with the city administrator, if there is an issue, we're sitting at the city administrator's office, or we're here at a workshop, or that person's up here, and we're having direct conflict and full transparency, or we're giving a directive to the city administrator to take care of that issue. But I just feel like, isn't part of our problem is that we're involved in staff? That's all I'm saying. So if we, administrator must follow formal documented process. I'm gathering we have a procedure in place that I don't think is going to make it to the next city administrator, but when somebody from the city is talking to me, they've got to send an email that's documented that they had a conversation with Director Burns.
I don't think that's the intent, Brett.
Okay.
That may be what, I think the
that's-
intent is, you're right. I think the intent is to make sure that the employee, the staff member, and the director are not having, the director's not coming to that employee and saying, I want you to stop doing this, or I need you to start doing this, and you're bypassing the administrator. You're not talking to the administrator to let them know, hey, I see this, or I'd like for you to address this. That director's going directly to that employee, or the employee's coming to the director, and then the director is acting upon that rather than going to the administrator. That's what I kind of got with my conversation with Betsy, and is that you don't want that, you want there to be that separation. You can talk to the staff all day long and just talking to them. We all can. But whenever you start going to that staff member and directing them to do things, that's whenever it becomes a problem.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, David?
That, on that same venue there, over on letter K, letter B, staff is not expected to respond to individual director requests or suggestions. The question I've got is very iffy because, this goes on all year long for me, that I will see something that's unsafe around town, and I usually call dispatch to let them know. But if it's something that is not needing to be looked at right then and there in terms of, there's a crash at this site and there's no car, has it been called, But if there's something that is PD related and needs to have someone be aware of the problem, over the years, I've not felt like going to the city administrator for every single thing, that if I can't call the police chief and say, are you aware of this? I've just seen this. And I think I'm not giving a request or a suggestion, I'm making them aware. Because as I've said before, I feel like we need to be a second, third, fourth set of eyes for our safety personnel if we see something, because safety is the number one job of any government. So I do have a concern with some of these and how they're worded, that just doing what we normally do to try to protect the public may be perceived as giving direction, and that's not what it is.
And under that staff interaction, where it says, item E, where it says, casual conversation with staff is acceptable, giving assignments, suggestions, request, or seeking special treatment is not, that,
But what I'm saying is, what I'm calling is not a casual conversation.
Right.
It's not like I'm saying, hey, that was a great sermon in church the other day. I'm actually calling and saying,
but you're
You know,
giving them information
I'm
about,
giving information, yeah.
Madam Mayor,
yes.
the way because we're still on handling issues, right? But you referred to,
It was just
A
kind
later
of
section,
similar,
okay.
is why I jumped over that, yeah.
the way I read handling issues, what it was that if there is a problem, like if I have a problem with Betsy or the administrator or a staff, which I really shouldn't have a problem with the staff if I'm not, kind of to Brad's point, if I'm not supposed to be involving myself with staff members in a directive sort of way, I really shouldn't have problems with them, but that if I have a problem, then I need to document that, right? Not that I can't talk to someone in Walmart or call the chief of police, right?
You need to,
Is that
administrator.
the correct understanding of that?
Actually, I have no input on what was added.
Is that what you meant by that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And, yeah, and like I said, I mean, we can reword if it's more clear or throw stuff out. Yeah, or like the one, or Brad, if you have a way you want to phrase that one, I'm good with that, or
do.
David.
I can tell you real quick, I just feel like staff needs to be removed from it. And the way it goes, in my experience as a city employee and my previous time on the board, if issue between a board member involving the city administrator must follow formal documented procedure. And this is how I see it, is that if it does involve whatever, doesn't matter if it's staff or whatever it is that we follow that procedure, and that procedure is we go to executive session, we have that discussion, we bring the city administrator in for the corrective to that staff that we're all concerned about or not concerned about at all. And additional to that, when we do the evaluation, that is a corrective point too, where you can also correct the city administrator on that, and then you do a follow-up on that corrective, and if there isn't any adjustments made, then obviously, as a board, we go to another level on that, and we've done that, and so that, to me, that's where that's at. When I see staff in there, I get where the intent was, but I think the intent also is to get back online on handling issues, and that is the city administrator's key responsibility. And then we all collectively, instead of through scuttlebutt and, misinformation, we'll all know that concern, and we all make that corrective
Okay.
collectively.
So at this point in time, we are going to adjourn this workshop because we are at 6:30 practically. So we, of course, this is an agenda item, so we will take up this discussion again whenever we get to that point in the agenda. So at this point in time, we are adjourning the workshop. We will reconvene at 6:35. Okay. Call to order the Siloam Springs Board of Directors meeting for January 20th, 2026. Roll call.
Blair,
Here.
Barnes,
Here.
Wiles,
Here.
Hunt,
Here?
Rissler,
Here.
Allen,
Here.
Carroll.
Here.
At this time, if you all will please stand with me as Director Blair Finn leads us in prayer, and please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Dear Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for all of us coming together. I ask that you guide us in our deliberations, that we do your will, that you give us wisdom to make the best choices for the citizens, to glorify you, for this town. Help us to do your will in every single decision we make. And thank you for all our many blessings. And help us to always be guided by you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. At this time, I would ask if you have an electronic device that you please silence that or turn that off so we don't have an interruption during our meeting. And I thank you very much for that. So first item tonight is our public input time. I would ask if there's anyone here that would like to address the board on an item that is not on our regular agenda. There is not. I would ask then if there is anyone here that would like to address the board on an item that is on our consent agenda. There is no one, so we will move on to the consent agenda. Item A, regular meeting minutes, January 6th, 2025. B, Resolution 01-26, setting hearing date for easement vacation, 3800 to 3900 block Highway 412 East. '26, thank you. I'm just reading what I've got here in front of me. There we go. All right. So we have two items on our consent agenda. Directors, would you like to have anything removed for separate consideration? If not, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Roll call.
Burns,
Yes.
Wiles,
Yes.
Hunt,
Yes.
Rissler,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Carroll,
Yes.
Blair.
Yes.
Motion is approved. With that, we'll move to our staff reports. The Siloam Springs Museum fourth quarter report and our November financials. Christina?
Oh, this evening, Mary, would you like to come and give the board an update? Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Mary Nolan, Director of Operations for the Siloam Springs Museum, and here to share a little bit with you about what we've been doing lately. In the fall, we spent a lot of time with the Homegrown Festival that day that Main Street puts on, and that's just such a great event. And that was good for us to get the word out about the museum. Also, with help from several folks this year, the 50s sock hop that the museum sponsored in November was just a huge success. And along with that comment is just that we have an outstanding group of young women in this town and some of their spouses and some men too, but some women that are just going to be, I think, dynamite for the future of this community. And I guess as you get older and you see young people coming up and really taking charge of things. So Lindsay Taylor, Abby is here tonight, so there are a couple of them that lead the way. So I just want to give them a shout out because we couldn't have pulled this off without the group that we had. So we're really thrilled about that. Going down to kind of we've been trying to develop with the 3-year strategic plan. And one of the things, fundraising, and that event just really helped us boost our fundraising. We did a really good job with that, and that kind of I think, people getting to know who we are and what we can do, and that museums can be fun and do fun things. So we're hoping on that. Membership program is booming a little bit this year, so we're still taking applications. We've got those on our website. And one of our biggest challenges is going to be collection and storage. We're really probably past the collection stage unless it's really significant to something that happened in Siloam Springs. Most of what we have in storage needs to be relooked at, recalculated, and decided to stay in the exhibit section and stay in our inventory or move on and do something else. So that's kind of what we're looking at, and that's going to be a long-time project for us. So under the summary of donations and patrons attending, a little low this fall for us, but donations were significant. And we had the donations that you see here in the column are from a little donation box that we have at the front of the museum. So people put some money in that, and so we greatly appreciate that. Helps us be able to keep the museum open and for free for the public. But we also received just donations, just people who wanted to give something to the museum this year. We received 1,200 in individual donations, which was pretty great. We did get to, grants are really hard to find right now. A lot of the Arkansas grants are still on hold, and they're not taking applications for those right now. So we're looking around, but we were able to obtain a touchscreen TV, which is about 3 foot by 5, and a stand that goes with it that would allow us to put information on there, like we could do the whole history of Siloam on there, and you want to hear about Simon Sager, you can hit that. If you want to hear about somebody else, you can hit that. So that's our big technical goal for this year too. So Walmart had those, and they offered them to museums in the area. So we're really excited about that possibility. Another thing that staff is getting a lot more involved is the Arkansas Museum Association. So that way we can visit other museums and talk to them and kind of do some problem solving together, because we kind of all run into the same things. And so that's been really encouraging for us. Under the management duties, I kind of made that like a creed or maybe a vision for the future and the way we should treat people who come to us. But we want to provide exhibits that are informative and interesting, emphasize the importance of being a member and taking some ownership in the museum. And so we're hoping that we can really fulfill those that you've seen there. We are going to start a program called Conversations With. We're getting together some things, kind of a podcast, but not quite. But these would be like a question and answer period time with somebody who's really important and significant that has contributed to either art or history in some ways to our community. So that'll be something we'll be doing. I did have the honor of visiting the Sager Classical Academy and sharing with them a little bit about our history. Right now, one of the things we did with the HICO, a Siloam Springs history book, is now on a USB, and we are going to be selling those at the museum for $20. So that whole book that is hard to find and many are kind of falling apart, we'll be able to give those out to special things and then sell them in our gift shop for $20. One of the most important things is I'd like to give an update on Don Warden, who's been in charge of our collections and research for an awful long time. He is still in rehab and is scheduled to have a procedure tomorrow morning, which is a spinal tap, to see about the fluid in his spine and to test that to see if there's any infections or other things like that. So we're not sure what's going to be next after that, but if you wouldn't mind praying for Don, we sure would appreciate it, and I know he would too. He has family that is very much engaged in his medical things and taking care of his house and doing all that. So he's been here over 33 years, so he really knows the history. And anyway, we feel the loss at the museum. So I'm glad to answer any questions or comments. Thank you for your time and your support.
I
We
just have
appreciate
one
it.
question.
Sure, thank you, Mary. David?
Thanks, Mary. I've often wondered that HICO Heritage book. I've got a couple of them, and they're in good shape. But I didn't know who has the ownership or the right. I mean, are you guys allowed to do? I mean, have you?
Well, apparently there was a publishing company called Sager Creek Publishing or
Yeah.
something like that, and we've called around and other people, so we really
know.
don't know.
I didn't know if Maggie Smith's descendants were involved or anything?
No, they're
So
not.
it's under
Yeah.
the museum umbrella, which is good. I'm
Right.
glad you guys are able to
Yeah.
settle that because
We tried to
ton of
contact her
information.
daughter because we heard that she was living over in Broken Arrow. And about the time we found out some information about her, her daughter had passed away. So
you
we
did a
don't have any
tremendous amount
other.
of research on that thing. And so
So-
I'm glad you're
Yeah.
reinvigorating the
Right.
interest in it.
Anybody know a good publisher or somebody that could help us redo that? We'd love to.
It's a great book.
Yeah.
And we appreciate you.
Thank you.
I don't know if you watched the last meeting, but your biggest fan right here, our mayor, she really talked pretty highly about all the
did.
good job you've been doing. So thank
She
you, Mary.
did. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mary.
So going forward, I will have Main Street and the Chamber provide their quarterly updates as a presentation. And that really the difference is just that the board doesn't approve their contract. That's really the difference there. So November financials, if you guys have any questions, please contact myself or Kim Williams.
Madam
All right,
Mayor,
yes, Mindy.
will we hear from Chamber and Main
You will.
Street tonight?
I'll have them as a presentation at the next meeting, so they'll still get up and do a quarterly report. And the next time, they'll be on at the same time that Mary's on.
I do see them here. I don't know.
And they're welcome to step up and do this now, or they can do it.
No
at the-
pressure, I just
No
didn't want you to
pressure.
come ready and
Yeah.
then, us not
I don't
listen to
think
you.
they came ready because they
Yeah,
weren't on the
I
agenda.
don't think so. But you will be next time, right? Thank you, Christina. Next are contracts and approvals. Annual chemicals bid, Public Works Department, Water-Wastewater Treatment Divisions, multiple vendors and cost. Josh?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the board. Josh Niebuhr, Public Works Director. First item of business tonight for Public Works is the annual chemical bids. Annually, the Water and Wastewater Divisions, the treatment plants advertise and receive bids for chemicals used at their respective plants. The purpose is to lock in the cost of those chemicals for the upcoming year. eBridge was the reverse auction site that we used. Conducted the auction on December 18th, 2025, and the vendors were able to compete against each other, ultimately resulting in a 12% overall savings from 25 to 26. So thank you, board, for approving that ordinance to allow that. Let's see, on the memo, there's a bid tab there showing which chemicals we're using, which vendors won those bids. And this money, the funds for these chemicals were approved in the 2025, December 16, 2025, for the 26 budget, just about a month ago or so. Staff recommends we approve these contracts and prices, and if you have any questions, I am available.
Thank you, sir. Directors, comments or questions? Anyone in the audience that would like to address this contract? If not, directors, do I have a motion to approve the annual chemical bid for the water wastewater treatment?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Wiles.
Yes.
Hunt.
Yes.
Rissler.
Yes.
Allen.
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Blair.
Yes.
Burns.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Next item is purchase for Public Works Department, Street Division, 2026 SMMT trailer-mounted asphalt recycler. Wow. The Henard Utility Products for $83,000. Josh?
Yes, ma'am. Josh Napier, Public Works Director. Sorry about that mouthful. The City of Siloam Springs, we discussed it a little bit in budget workshops. Historically, we've used the cold patch method or throw-and-go method for potholes. This asphalt recycler will allow us to make smaller batches of hot mix using the millings that we've accumulated over the last few years doing mill and overlay projects. We have a lot of them, so being able to use them will help save us money and materials. Also, the hot mix method is far better than the cold mix method. The cold mix is very pliable, has a hard time sticking to the road surfaces and materials. Driving over it, weather conditions, we have a snow coming up, snow plows running over that are gonna break that up, and ultimately, the pothole comes right back. So being able to buy this piece of equipment, reuse our millings to create smaller batches of hot mix, will basically set us up to make more permanent repairs and a better solution overall for the city streets. So this was approved in the capital outlay for the street division at $83,000. And this purchase will be made through the Sourcewell Government Procurement Service. The Sourcewell eliminates the requirements for us to do competitive bidding since all that is handled by Sourcewell. So staff obviously approves approves the purchase of this piece of equipment for $83,000, and staff's available for any questions.
Thank you, Josh. Directors?
Madam Mayor? Oh,
Yes, Mindy, and then I'll come to you, Betsy.
I just want to say thank you. I hear from several people talking about how they had potholes fixed and they were fixed, but then it wasn't long before it just started kind of crumbling again. I heard that even just over the weekend from someone. And so when I read this, I was very excited to know that we may have a more permanent solution for our pesky potholes. So
too.
just thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Betsy?
And actually, that was basically what I was going to say, is thank you. And thank you for putting the time and energy into figuring out a better fix and following through with it. I think that's fantastic, and you're doing a great job. So thank you, really appreciate it. And I know potholes are a big issue for the citizens, so we're all looking forward to it.
Yes, we are too. Thank you very much.
Madam Mayor.
Yes, Reed.
Josh, I applaud this. It's good to see that we are obtaining equipment that fits within our niche or whatever the fancy word is. It seemed like we had strayed several years ago trying to do it all, and we've kind of settled into what we can do and what we need to farm out. And I think this fits very well with what we can do, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mayor.
Yes, Brad.
So the reuse and recycle, that's awesome. We're still on, to do the patch correctly, the surface also.
Oh, yeah.
So we're getting this equipment, it'll be online, but you're really gonna do, when it warms up, because right now you're solving all our street sign problems.
Working on that, yeah.
I know you're already doing a great job, over 100 signs I hear.
Yeah.
But on this one here, I'm excited too. Having said that, just for the public, the surface also has to be warm for the patch to occur. So after this inclement period that we have, and those potholes will get worse, they will be repaired in warmer temperatures. This is just going to allow them to last longer.
Yeah, great point. The cold mix is not going away. It will drastically reduce the amount of it we have to do, but cold mix is good for, we get called out because of potholes in the middle, huge potholes in the middle of the road is something we can put in very quickly so that people aren't damaging their rims or tires or something like that. And then when we're able to make a batch of this, we can come back and fix that correctly. So yeah, great point. We're not getting away from the cold mix for that reason, but also to your point, Director, temperature is a major factor in our ability to repair. So, but yeah, this will set us up, and this is just one piece of this repair setup. There's also, hot saw or a saw basically to cut away the excess, make a nice clean square. Plate compactors, all this stuff will be on this trailer as well. So yeah, we're going to be set up to do a better job for sure.
Anyone else? If not, is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the purchase for the Public Works Department? If not, directors, do I have a motion to approve for the purchase of the trailer-mounted asphalt recycler for $83,000?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Hunt,
Yes.
Rissler,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes?
Carroll,
Yes.
Blair,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes?
Wiles.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Thank you, Josh. Next, purchase electric department, Kubota SVL 97, 3HFCC skid steer from Springdale Tractor Company for $148,547.82. Phil?
Thank you, Mayor. Members of the board, Phil Stokes, Electric Director. Basically, this device gives us the ability to get our job done quicker. We have about 5 attachments that comes with this device. And so we can, when we cut trees down, we can haul them with our brush grappler. We can backfill ditches. We can dig holes. It helps us clean right away. It's got a rotary type of cutter it comes with it, so we can go in and clean up right away. And so it just helps us to do what we do quicker and save time, and available for any questions you might have.
Thank you, sir. Directors, comments or questions for Phil?
Madam Mayor.
Yes, Reed.
And Phil, this also fits within our niche as well on what you wish to do versus what needs to be hired out.
Yes, sir, sure does. We do a lot of digging in the ground, underground work, putting in services and things, and so we can backfill with this, and instead of hiring somebody else to do it, we do it this way.
Anyone else? Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the purchase for the electric department from Springdale Tractor? There is not. Do I have a motion to approve the purchase for the electric department of the skid steer for $148,547.82?
Moved.
Have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Whistler,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Carroll,
Yes.
Flair,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Wiles,
Yes.
Hunt,
Yes.
Motion is approved. Thank you, Phil. Next is contract for community services, sanitation division, fleet lease buyback program, 5 new sanitation vehicles for $374,244. And looks like Jason.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Mayor, Jason Davis, Community Services Director. This is the same program that we started 2 years ago with the leases, with the sanitation vehicles. We did have this budgeted. We do not have or need a budget amendment to move forward with this, and I'm open for any questions you may have.
Thank you, Jason.
Absolutely.
Directors, comments or questions?
Madam Mayor?
Yes, David.
Jason, thanks for looking out, in that we have a very old fleet, obviously, some of them 31 years old.
Yes, sir.
My concern, I just want to confirm, we're not planning to buy them at the end of the 2 years?
No,
Or are
sir. No, sir.
But we
I
have
mean-
the option?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We always have the option at the end of it to pay the balloon payment if we want to. Right now, the way it works, every 2 years, we get a brand-new truck. Trucks keep going up in price. Man, they're getting expensive with the metal, but so far, it's been a great program for us. We've been able to keep trash and recycle picked up with the trucks.
So like looking at the condensed equipment finance contract, we'll be paying the, like on the first one, $55.60 for 2 years,
Yes, sir.
every month for 2 years.
Yes, sir.
And that comes up to $18,444. So we'll be paying that, essentially renting it for that time
Yes, sir.
period. And if the staff says, you know, if we can keep this, we need to keep it, but otherwise you can get a new one.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So each one of these contracts that says 24-month payments at blank, blank, blank,
Yes,
that's
sir.
all we're paying?
Yes, sir.
On, I guess, 4 different contracts, it's a different amount on each one.
Yes, sir.
Is the total amount here, the 370, is that the total of
For a year.
all those 2 years?
For each year.
Oh, each year?
Yes, sir.
So each year, this is not a 2-year, it comes off as being, that's what we pay every 2 years for
Yeah.
these.
No, it'll be every year, sir.
Okay, I didn't quite get that. Because it says the lease duration is 2 years, I thought that's what we were,
Yeah. No, sir.
this
This
is
is
your
the-
cover memo saying 374,000, so I assumed that was, I didn't total each one of them, but I did calculate how much we were making payments, and I thought that that was for 2 years on each of them. Okay. All right.
Anyone else? If not, is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the contract for community services? There is not. So directors, do I have a motion to approve the contract for the community services sanitation lease buyback program for $374,244?
Moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Allen,
Yes.
Carroll,
Yes.
Blair,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Wiles,
Yes.
Hunt,
Yes.
Bristler.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Thank you, Jason. So with that, we will move into our resolutions. First resolution is 02-26, 2026 Board Rules and Procedures. Christina?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I believe that we left off, if you guys would like to pick up where we left off, I'm trying to see what section that was. It was number
think it
4.
was Page 8, under the
Page 8.
standards for conduct.
Madam Mayor,
Yes,
could we
David.
do the other two agenda items and come back to this?
Yes, sir.
The board rules. That way we can
Yes.
do the parks and the budget amendment.
Yes, sir, we can certainly do that. So if I have,
Do we need a motion? to-
yeah, we need a motion to move item I
To the end
to
of
the end of the resolutions.
I make that motion.
Make that motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, I don't believe I have to have a voice vote, just all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. All right, we will move then to Resolution 03-26, amending the 2025 budget. Christina?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mayor, members of the board, during the year, as you make approvals, basically what I do is I accumulate those into a formal resolution at year end so that we can formally amend the budget. And there are actually, for the first time in some time, no amendments that were not previously approved by the board.
That sounds good. So,
We celebrate
directors?
that?
So do we have any questions for Christina? If not, I would ask if there's anyone in the audience that would like to have any questions or comments on the resolution for amending 2025 budget? There is not. Directors, do I have a motion to approve Resolution 03-26, amending the 2025 budget?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Carroll,
Yes.
Blair,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Wiles,
Yes.
Hunt,
Yes.
Bristler,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Motion is approved. Thank you, Christina. Next is Resolution 04-26, Parks and Recreation, ULI Grant Application, Parks Master Plan. Jason?
Madam Mayor, members of the board, Jason Davis, Community Services Director. This grant was sent to me a couple weeks ago. This is an opportunity for us to apply for a Parks Master Plan that will pay 2/3 of it. We will pay 1/3 of the cost of this master plan. So we're bringing this to you today so we can get your approval to move forward. And I'm available for any questions.
Good.
No,
Yes.
Madam
Betsy?
Mayor. I wanted to say thank you. This is awesome. I never thought I'd be so excited over a Parks Master Plan, but to have the potential of 2/3 paid for, because
Yeah.
I know we really, really need this.
This was handed to me by Christina. She found it. We jumped on it and here we are. So
That's awesome. Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Jason, Travis. Yeah, thank you, thank you.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, David?
Just for clarification for the public watching, it is $125,000 that we expect our portion not to exceed, and it would be paid out of the quality of life sales tax that we have sitting there, looking for things like this to
Yes, sir.
spend it on.
yes, sir.
Thank you, Jason.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, Travis. Thank you, Christina. Appreciate it.
And if the board does choose to move forward with this, if we could get some direction on quality of life funds, if that's something that we want to wait till the master plan is done before we bring you some quality of life things, or if you want us to go ahead and bring some things to you now, that's completely up to you.
Is there an estimation of how long this will take?
I don't think it's gonna take very long. When I was talking to Travis, we're looking at probably 4 months, so. If we're selected.
I think it would depend upon what you have, if something comes up. I don't think any department should necessarily wait
Okay.
until there's, whether it's a comprehensive plan or this plan or a
Yes, sir.
street plan or whatever. If something needs to be brought to the city administrator for,
Yes, sir.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Mayor?
Yes, Brad?
If I might, what I'm excited about this, and I spoke about before, is that specifically Siloam is in an opportunity with their quality of life funds. And in the board packet, I've shared some information. I've said at the last board meeting about past, present, and future.
Yes, sir.
So I think we're on the beginning of Sager Creek. But I would just encourage the city administrator to encourage staff to take a look at the 2009 study.
Okay.
What was our mindset then? And maybe revisit that with revisions. I think that's another great opportunity, grant opportunity. And let's not forget the community building. I know we're searching for grants for that.
Yes, sir.
But that one, may not get the grant, but I think what we learned in the past is that we don't want to lose our historical
Yes, sir.
value. And the master plan's exciting. I would only request that, as we move forward with it, whatever that is it does require public input.
Yes, sir.
It requires the public to show up at public input sessions. We've had a good turnout in the past, but, man, I just wish there would be more. So whatever we can do, I can do as a board member to help you stay excited and the public to stay excited about their funds, that's what really keeps me hopeful and optimistic with 26. So keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, David?
Coming off of Brad's statement there, I echo, we cannot put off renovating that community building any longer. We made it a directive over a year ago that this was what the board wanted. I've seen in the past other things get set aside, because we're looking for grants. If we've got the money that we can at least get a proposal for it, at least figure out what we need to do and what it's gonna take expenditure-wise. I know once we get started, there's gonna be a lot of events that are gonna have to be found.
Yes, sir.
Elsewhere venue for, because a lot of stuff goes on there throughout the year. But, and it's not like it's gonna be done in 2 months. This thing could be a year long or more.
Yes, sir.
But I don't want us to be putting it off anymore just for grant. If we have this sales tax revenue and we do need to be finding things for it besides Sager Creek, which I fully support, but the community building is something this board decided
Yes, sir.
when Gilbert was here that we needed to move forward. And every time I asked him about it, oh, we're working on it. Well, I don't want us to be working on it anymore. I want to see our board directive move forward to, because it's a historic building, one of the anchors of downtown, one of the anchors of the city. And we don't just owe it to our citizens, we owe it to the American Legion, who helped fund and build that in 1940-something. So we need to get on that. I hope we can pretty soon.
Yes, sir. I can give you an update. We have checked with the state nearly weekly, and they still have not released who's won that grant. So, but we did set aside that 300,000 or so for the matching part of it. So there is some funds available if we don't get the grant that maybe we could reallocate to get some repairs done on the community.
I would like to, have we gotten any kind of, like an engineering
Yes,
study?
sir. I've done a lot of that already. I've contacted a couple roofing companies. We've had, Travis had some engineers look at it a while back. And that's where Travis got that $1 million number. Some of the contractors
Expectation, yeah.
he's contacted, so. But I know a lot of that is having to, because it is part of the National Historic Registry, is having to pull the rock off, fix it, and put the rock back exactly the way it was. It's just a crazy feat. So what I'm thinking is if we can get, my main goal, to be honest with you, Director Allen, is to stop it from getting worse.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's my main goal right now, is just to
Preserve what
stop.
we have. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
So that's what we're working on and what we're trying to get done, and, yes.
But I think when this first became a topic that we all agreed on was when there was the need for an emergency shelter, whether it was tornado and, you know, many citizens lost homes and need the place or whatever. But we all said, we need to update the HVAC, we need to update a
Sprinkler
lot
system.
of conveniences inside that have not been included for a long time. And
Yes, sir.
And so the internal update is a big part of that as well.
Yes, sir. Totally agree. Thank you.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, Betsy?
And I apologize, I know you've told me this before. The redoing of it properly was it $1 million? How much was?
It was a little over $1 million for everything.
Okay, and
That
that
was
was
the whole
like
thing.
a year ago or?
Yes, ma'am. That was
Okay.
over a year ago.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
so, all right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Anyone else? If not, is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the Resolution 0426 for Parks and Rec? I'm sorry. Yes, that's where we're at. If not, directors, do I have a motion to approve Resolution 04-26, Parks and Recreation for the grant application, Parks Master Plan?
Moved.
Second?
Have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Blair,
Yes.
Barnes,
Yes.
Wiles,
Yes.
Hunt,
Yes.
Rissler,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Thank you, Jason. So now we will move back to Resolution 02-26 for the 2026 Board Rules and Procedures. Christina?
Thank you again, Madam Mayor. So we were discussing standards for conduct, and we were on page 8 out of 10, under item F, handling issues. And I believe there was some questions about what issues between board members or involving the city administrator must follow formal documented processes. I think we had one, I think there was an agreement to remove staff from that line.
Yes, I believe that's correct.
Mayor?
Yes, Brad.
Yes, that was me, but now that we're on that resolution, and I'm struggling that Director Hunt didn't catch this, but in the, up on background, on the second sentence, board is misspelled. Am I wrong?
Where are you at?
I'm on the staff report in the background in the very beginning. We have a Scribner's error. I like us to keep that tradition of pointing that out. You're welcome, Director Hunt.
Still don't know where you are.
That's okay.
I'll just make sure I spell board right.
Now that we're on,
B-O-R-E-D,
now
right?
that we're actually on the resolution, right? Now that we're actually on the resolution,
Oh, the resolution.
yeah, this is, at the very beginning, that was just for, Janae, you're welcome. Thank you.
B-O-R-D, what the heck? Yeah, I
Moved
just-
on. I can't even believe I caught that. To be honest with you. I apologize. All right, now I'm back. Sorry.
So
My recommendation was remove staff. That was it on that.
what number were we last on, Christina?
We were actually on item F1. I think that's as far as I got with the reading, and we started discussing issues, what the issues between board members, and what processes we would be following.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
so I understand removing staff. I think Brad sort of alluded to the process is an executive session, right? Whether that's documented or not. So issues between board members or involving the administrator must follow Well,
Normal documented processes.
yeah, do we document executive sessions? I guess we do, okay. Okay, so I don't need to put in their executive session?
We have to come out and state clearly what the executive session was about, correct?
Beginning with number 2, issues shall be framed as policy, governance, or performance concerns, not personal grievances. No surprise attacks or personal criticism during meetings, including criticizing staff or other board members. Internal conflicts should be handled through open session unless they involve legal advice or an executive session has been called. The board through the majority vote, not through individual directives.
We removed the little asterisks throughout.
Madam Mayor,
ma'am.
unless anybody disagrees, I think I will take out surprise under number 3. We just don't want a tax period, right?
Surprise.
Whether they're surprise or planned, let's just not do them.
Commitment to governance. Directors commit to acting in the city's best interest, staying within their boundaries, supporting lawful processes, upholding public trust, maintaining a functional working relationship with staff and fellow directors. I believe some of this, Betsy, did we add the orientation for new directors? Did we add all of that information, or was
That was already in the previous.
What-
The first new thing is letter J.
Yeah.
letter J? Okay,
J
Board
above
of
that.
Directors' responsibilities. Set policy and direction. Approve budgets, ordinances, and major spending. Evaluates the city administrator, not other staff. Does not manage day-to-day operations. Directors act only as a body and not individually.
And again, can we get rid of the asterisks?
Staff interaction rules. Board members cannot direct, supervise, evaluate, discipline, or influence staff individually. Staff is not expected to respond to individual director requests or suggestions. No director has the authority to direct staff, demand information, or initiate projects or be involved in projects outside of board approval. All communication regarding operations, budget, and directives to staff must go through the city administrator. The administrator is the sole conduit for staff direction unless otherwise authorized by policy or vote. Casual conversation with staff is acceptable. Giving assignments, suggestions, requests, or seeking special treatment is not. No back channel influence on staff or department heads. Do not intervene in employee issues. May report staff behavior, concerns, or job performance, but not give direction on how to handle it. Employees are told to promptly report to the city administrator and/or mayor any conduct by an elected official that contradicts established governance protocols, involves direct interaction outside of appropriate channels, or could reasonably be perceived as intimidating or inappropriate. Employees will not be subject to retaliation for making such reports in good faith.
Mayor,
Yes, David.
I'd like to remove and/or mayor. The mayor is also an elected official. And any of these points that need to come up from an employee should only go to the city administrator. This may be appropriate in a mayor-council form of government, but it's not for this one. Can we remove and/or mayor? Anyone else
Yes, we can do that.
nodding of heads?
Yeah.
Area, I highlighted
Yeah.
it. I'm sorry, I removed it in my notes.
If approached by an employee, a director must decline involvement, including support or advocating for staff other than to document and refer. A director may not get involved or give input into promotions, demotions, or transfers. Employees may invite support from HR, city clerk, a manager, or another employee, not a director. Directors lose immunity if they engage in personnel matters below the administrator. Directors must document the contact, forward it to the city administrator and/or HR, and avoid providing direction unless formally requested through proper channels.
I had a question here on the formatting of number 5, directors must, and then
Yep, that's incorrect.
we need to put all of those together or put them as a sub under 5. And then the question at the end of 8 is through proper channels. That's not listed here. Can we at least format that without the colon?
I wrote it down for Mindy.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, Brad?
So help me out on document the contact. That's what I got. Help me out on document the
Oh,
contact.
it-
I mean,
That's formatted in, document the contact.
what is the contact?
So if I'm approached by an employee, and there's a complaint about something, then I'm going to document what they said and what happened, and then I'm going to turn it over to the city administrator.
Guess I haven't had that, I guess I haven't had that experience yet. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know, yeah.
You have, but it was at Walmart and you didn't document the content.
I didn't document, I apologize in advance. I'm just curious, I'm serious.
No,
I get it, yeah, I see what you're saying.
yeah.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, Mindy?
So this section deals with staff interaction rules from the board's perspective, but there's also sort of directives for how staff are to handle things. Should that not all be in the employee handbook as well?
There is a policy for staff. It's not included in
Specifically
the,
related to how to handle issues with board members, like staff is not expected to respond to individual director requests or suggestions. I mean, there's several things here that feel like they are really for both. And how are staff to know some of these things?
so other than providing this to them and saying, this is what you guys have approved for your conduct, that's all that I can do. But but the staff policy is basically, if you're asking FOIA-able information, then that would be provided to you. And then but if you're asking them to do something that is impacting their job, they're supposed to. So I don't know that you tell staff what to do in here. Staff is being told what to do from the city administrator. Like, if you were to call, not that you would, and say, I need this pothole filled and I need it done today. So that shouldn't be going to staff. Not to say that the pothole doesn't need to be filled. You can make them aware that that there is a pothole there, but giving them direction and telling them what to do and when to do it is not. I would think
Staff could tell them, well,
Yeah.
the asphalt is here if you want to come get it.
Well,
And all, and I
it
would,
tells the staff what they can expect, I guess.
Yes.
So maybe, I mean, would it be appropriate to include that section or even all of the board policy as an addendum in the staff handbook?
I would think
just throwing
not,
this
and the
out
only
there.
reason I would say that is it can be in the handbook that we will provide that to them annually, but I don't think that if you were to add all of this into the handbook, you're not gonna be able to change it very easily, right? However, we can have, I mean, there could be something potentially in the handbook that refers staff to this.
Well, okay, so, yeah, that would be good. If there's any mention of the board, that could be where for more information about the board, your relationship with the board, whatever, refer to. I don't know, would that be helpful?
Well, I think, yes, Brad.
I think, for simplicity's sake, is, you know, we do our diligence because this is what we're taking care of. And my experience has been is when a department head passes that down, that word's, I mean, it's that simple. And most employees are working underneath a chain of command. So if you see the guys out on the streets, they've already received their job assignment. They've had their briefing this morning. They've got their workload. They're plugging in, and you could tell them whatever you want. But the ones I run into, they're not going to document that because you didn't follow the. They should not be listening to us. We're not following the chain. I mean, that's the way it goes. So the department head just tells them that. It's not that complicated. I think this is on our end, not on the employee's
It is,
end.
it's more of an FYI for employees, in
Yeah,
my
but I think the
opinion.
employee gets that from the department head. Once again, I mean, I don't know how John Brown's staff runs. I just know my experience with the city and how your morning shift starts. I know when the guys are gathering over at the city compound in the morning, right? I see them in their little circles over there, and they're communicating like that's what's happening for the day. And I feel really positive that there's department heads that are keeping aware of our communications right now. And the acting city administrator will make sure they disseminate that information there. But to be in a written format to some level, I think it's simple as passing the word. I hate to be that simple about it. I think it's just,
I just like consistency, you know. That's what I mean, just so everybody, it may be one department head remembers to pass along, one doesn't. I'm not saying, I was saying this originally, but I like the idea of, because these do change every year, for more information on interaction with the board or the policies that the board adheres to.
So what if, because they do potentially change every year, what if when they change, an email with them is sent out to every employee, and then they can choose to read it or not? But it's there, and that way too, if they have a question, 6 months down the road, they can go search in their email and be like, oh yeah, there it is.
Or to Brad's point, send it to the department heads. And then let the department heads disseminate it how they want.
but to the whole point of this thing is that's the acting city administrator sitting there, and I feel really good with the correspondence we've had with Christina. She is going to make that word will be passed. If there's a failure on staff end, then the corrective is once again done here. It's the system. It works. It's like 3 readings. It just works.
We don't know exactly yet, because we haven't put all of it in the.
True.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, David.
this may be irrelevant. My concern is the use of the word director. Simply because several years ago, Mr. Patterson changed the title of department heads to director. And it used to be what, manager or something, and so now, should this be board member, or is it, I guess it's okay since this is the board rules, I guess it's okay. Is it okay, Christina? I mean,
I think it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've gone through staff interaction rules. Is there any other section that was added after that we need to go over?
I believe the city administrator responsibilities and expectations were previously discussed by the board, but they're new to your rules and procedures. So those responsibilities and expectations include oversees daily operations and manages all employees, makes hiring, firing decisions within personnel policies, implements policies approved by the board, keeps the board informed on major issues, projects, incidents, and other significant events, provides reports, updates, or data upon board member requests. Requests must be in writing. Time-consuming requests other than data subject to FOIA should be approved by the board. Communication and notifications, and here again, this would be from the city administrator. Media, notify the board if a department head or a manager communicates with the media. Hiring and firing, notify the board when hiring or terminating a department director, communications manager, city clerk, or city attorney. Other positions require notice only if the board requests it in writing. Applications need not be shared unless specifically requested. Major events, notify the board of significant news, for example, police or other emergencies, basically if there's like a homicide or something major that happens in the city. City events, notify board of ribbon cuttings, cancellations, and other public functions. And access and requests, ensure staff respond promptly to reasonable board requests. All board requests for information or assistance must go through the city administrator. All meeting requests must go through the executive assistant to include purpose, attendees, and needed staff. Requests and directives must be in writing,
Madam Mayor, on
David?
letter A, it, ensure staff respond promptly to reasonable board requests, seems to contradict all board requests for information must go through the city administrator. The other thing is, I think if the board has a request for information we know the city clerk can provide, we should be able to contact the city clerk instead of, the city clerk, many people don't understand the city clerk's role is so much more supportive of this board than they get credit for. And so the providing of information, especially standard information that really any of us may need for our job, should not have to go to the city administrator. Some of these rules on this thing, I think, seem to forget just how intensive the time is for a city administrator. It's not a matter of waiting to provide information to the board. And it's often dependent upon the management style of the city administrator. They may be in the office half the day, they may be in the office all day. They may be checking departments, management by walking around. So I think every request we have should not have to go through the city administrator.
Madam Mayor, on 2, access and requests, we just strike A.
Ensure staff responds promptly to reasonable board requests. Is that the one you're looking at?
Yeah, it contradict, as
Right.
Director Allen's pointed, it contradicts the other.
Well, but the second one is the one that really should be changed, because as it stands now, any information we want, we've got to contact the city administrator. If it's simple information that we know the city clerk will have, an ordinance that we passed 6 months ago, but we can't find it. I don't think that is something we should have to go to the city administrator and ask for.
So after assistance, remove must and go through city administrator or,
Or, you want to add or do you just want,
I think you could say, must go through the city administrator or the city clerk.
or city clerk? Yeah.
Is there no one else that we may need to access for information? I think those two are
those two.
about gonna cover it.
The attorney.
Oh, well, yeah, the city attorney works for the board directly, so, yeah. I think you could put both those city clerk, or city clerk or city attorney.
Attorney?
And on C, what about adding must go through,
Administrator's executive assistant.
yes, the city administrator or their executive assistant? Add city administrator?
Or administrator? You want to add that there also?
Go through the
For
city
meeting
administrator
request.
or the executive assistant.
Yeah.
And that's a good point if you're already sitting in a meeting and want to make a meeting request.
And, Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'm assuming that the requests and directives that must be in writing, that would be applicable for requests to the city administrator, the city attorney, or the city clerk, correct? So you can really combine
C and D,
D.
put C and D together?
Yeah, I can sort of actually combine all those.
And meeting boundaries, is that, okay?
So meeting boundaries, no private meetings with administrator after board meetings or outside of traditional work hours. Meetings must, at the administrator's discretion, be held with the door open to the executive assistant's office or include the executive assistant present. Communication hours, no calls or text after 6 p.m. unless urgent, and use email or schedule messages for the next day.
Yes, David?
I'm not sure we need this. This is in regard to the city administrator. Again, we tend to forget that a salaried position as a CEO is a 24/7 job. That's why they're paid the big bucks. And it is not a 40-hour-a-week job, even though we had that mentality with the last two administrators. We need to be more open to, I'm not saying at midnight, and if you want to put a time limit, that's fine. But, you know, in one executive session, I heard that their weekend is only theirs. We shouldn't invade upon their weekend. No, that's not true. 24/7, if there is something that is a problem on the weekend, we cannot just say, well, I'm sorry, I can't deal with that. We'll deal with it Monday because the city administrator is off. I saw that with the two previous administrators. Two before that, there was not any mentality like that. The two before that, Mr. Latham and Mr. Cameron, were on duty all the time. And if something came up, they dropped the ball, or they dropped everything and came to the rescue. So I just question if there's anything that needs to even be put regarding this. Because I think the next city administrator will make his request as to what he wants or would like to see.
So you would just like to see that taken out?
I would like to say,
Stricken from this.
see number 4 just removed.
Madam Mayor, I'm okay with removing it. I personally don't think it's a problem to text or email. After hours, I think we need to trust the city administrator to decide whether it's an urgent matter to know whether he or she has to take care of it right then, or it can wait. So we can send a text or an email anytime. We have to understand that then we're giving them the authority to decide when's the most appropriate time to handle it, so.
So, and Lisa, so it sounds like that is something we just need to strike whenever you make those changes. Mindy?
Madam Mayor?
Yes, Brad?
So as we, as I go back and review some of the amendments that we have made, and when it comes to communication, if we apply what we covered in the workshop and just recently, it falls just underneath being respectful in that communication. So really by removing that, I think we've covered some of that other. And then that interpretation, if there is a problem, the board needs to be open if a future city administrator communicates with us, hey, and if something becomes a problem, then we need to be open to understanding what's inappropriate for them, or what I've observed in the past is if they are not in communication range, they have passed the baton to somebody else, right? Christina has done that through email, and so we know they're around, but I think the other covers that, and then whoever that person is, hopefully they'll be comfortable enough to communicate those boundaries to us, right? I mean, that's what we're trying to accomplish by this whole thing.
Yes, Betsy?
And I'm good with striking that, and I like what Brad said about respect. Like, if it's 9 o'clock at night and it's not urgent, it's not a big deal, but I'm thinking about something, city business-wise, I don't need to call or text. Urgent is different than I just want to get something off my mind. So I think that's where the respect part helps cover it all.
Well, yeah, if we have to delineate that you're having an epiphany at 9 or 10 o'clock on a Friday night, that, hey, I really think we need to be looking at, you need to write that down on a notepad on your bedside and get with the administrator on Monday morning or Monday afternoon. Monday mornings are horrible anyway. Are we now moving on to the part that we just got yesterday?
That is correct. That is where we are.
Madam Mayor, I would
Yes.
like to make a suggestion, take it or leave it, because we already know there's an awful lot of formatting and some editing and things on this. And I am not going to feel comfortable voting on this tonight until it is final. I'm going to make a suggestion, not a motion, but a suggestion, that possibly we, because we have to approve something before the end of January, we approve the same board rules we've had the last 2 years, knowing that that is a placeholder and that we will finish this thing or adjust it, add to it, adjust it, make it final at the next board meeting.
It's your first meeting in February?
Yeah. And I mean, we can keep going through this last page now, but I'm just saying, I really don't like voting on something that says, okay, we've gone through everything, now we'll vote it, and then later we'll get the final edit. I don't like voting something that we haven't seen the final,
We
actually.
can certainly do that. I mean, just so we have something in place.
Yeah.
So that's, yes,
So, Madam Mayor,
yes.
since this is not exactly in the same format as the other, maybe between now and then, if you're okay with that, Mindy?
Yeah, I
Thank
think
you.
Mindy has been taking notes from the suggestions that we've had and the amendments that we want, and she is going to go back and make those changes for us, and so we'll have that too. And are you comfortable with doing that before our next, or our first meeting in February?
I'll try to get it done in the next
Yeah.
week so I can send it out before.
Okay, okay.
Janae, do you though have, or does someone have the, Bert, can you send that to me? Thank you. You know what I'm asking.
I do. Yes, ma'am, I'd already thought of it.
And Madam Mayor,
Yes,
if, Mindy, you do have questions on this, the attorney would be the one to ask, so.
Do we want to go ahead and finalize this last page then, now? Go, just read through it.
that's fine.
So the last part is a policy on addressing board member conduct. The purpose and scope. This policy is intended to promote professionalism, transparency, and effective governance among the members of the board of directors. It provides a framework for addressing concerns regarding the conduct of elected officials in a manner consistent with Arkansas law, the Arkansas Freedom of Information Act, and applicable ethical standards. This policy is advisory and procedural in nature, is intended to promote transparency, professionalism, and public trust in municipal governance, and does not create disciplinary authority beyond that provided by law. Nothing in this policy shall be construed to limit the rights of any elected official to speak, vote, or otherwise perform in the duties of office as provided by law. Informal resolution. When a director or the mayor observes conduct by another director or the mayor that appears inconsistent with the board's adopted rules of procedure or standards of conduct, the observing official is encouraged, when appropriate, to address the matter directly and professionally with the individual involved. The purpose of this communication is to raise the concern in a respectful manner, promote mutual understanding, and encourage voluntary compliance with applicable standards. If a staff member reports a concern regarding a board member's conduct to the city administrator, the city administrator may notify the mayor or any appropriate director so that the matter may be addressed in a similar informal manner consistent with this policy and applicable law. Consideration by the board. If the same or similar conduct continues after informal notice, or if the conduct is of a serious nature, the matter may be placed on the agenda for discussion at a properly noticed open meeting of the Board of Directors. For purposes of this policy, serious conduct may include, but is not limited to, conduct that is unlawful or in violation of applicable ethic laws, conduct that constitutes intimidation, threats, retaliation, or harassment, knowing misrepresentation of material facts in an official capacity, conduct that materially interferes with the lawful operations of the board, city staff, or the public's ability to conduct business with the city. All discussion and consideration of such matters shall occur in compliance with the Arkansas Freedom of Information Act. Board action.
Can I stop and interject one
Yes.
thing here?
David?
At the very bottom of the second paragraph, informal resolution, the sentence, if a staff member reports a concern regarding a board member's conduct to the city administrator may notify. I'm wondering if that should not be should notify, because the word may leaves it open to whether they do or don't. And if you have a staff member feel like the city administrator is going to be their spokesperson or their go-to to point something out, it may not be necessary to change it. It may be something that the city administrator needs the ease of making the determination if it rises to the serious level. But I do think the wording, it says may notify the mayor or an appropriate director, I think should be changed to say may notify the involved director or mayor. Because as it is worded is, you're notifying the mayor, like, to go to the mayor first. But I know what it's meant to mean is if it involves a certain board member, including the mayor, then the city administrator would go to the person that the staff has come to about, right?
Madam Mayor, actually, I think what it's meant to say, because the city administrator is not going to go to a director and say, hey, you crossed this line, remember part of the board rules or whatever. It's saying the city administrator should go or may go to the mayor or a director. Like, let's say I went directly to staff and I wasn't supposed to do that. I'm new, I forgot, whatever. Then the city administrator can go to Judy, or since we were using each other for examples, or Mindy, and go, hey, Betsy did this. Can you go to her and just point it out? Just like
What's an appropriate director?
the city,
think that's
the city
really-
Why
administrator.
would the, that's petty, that's
think-
getting one
I think it's
administrator
very-
against another administrator. That's not
Or-
a game to be played. That is,
Or say a director. I'm just saying.
it shouldn't be any director. It should go to the mayor only.
Madam Mayor, my suggestion would be if a staff member reports a concern regarding a board member's conduct to the city administrator, the city administrator shall notify the mayor. It's the shall and should story, but shall, that's a directive, and then the mayor is the one that's, bossing us around here.
And
And then we just strike all that other out of there.
And I'm perfectly fine with that. Part of the reason for having a backup is, let's say the mayor and I are best friends. And, not, it could be in the future, and the mayor and I are best friends, and the city administrator knows if they go to the mayor's not going to say anything or do anything. So it's a safeguard.
But what is the point of not having the city administrator simply go to, if a staff member, a department head, whoever goes to the city administrator and says, this board member is pushing me to do this and I don't think this is right and you need to know about it. The city administrator is the boundary go-between between the board and the staff. So why would the city administrator not be able to go to a board member or the mayor, whoever has been involved, and say, this is in the board rules, and I just want to make you aware of this problem?
So, because when I've asked the attorney, the city administrator, others, nobody feels like it's appropriate to have their employee, that our employee comes to us and tells us not to do something.
No. Oh, you're saying the city administrator being the employee you're talking about?
Yeah, Yeah, like the city administrator is our only employee. So does an
But this is
employee,
a communication back and forth issue. The city administrator should be empowered and encouraged to bring up something to one of us if there's an issue. Otherwise, just hear me out. You're going to employ city administrator to the mayor, mayor now to the one of us, unless it is the mayor. My problem is more people involved, more misinterpretation of what the actual issue is. The city administrator, we can't be sitting around going, oh, we might hurt somebody's feelings. City administrator can't feel comfortable. If the city administrator cannot feel comfortable to individually talk to any of us privately, then they shouldn't be the city administrator. You got to have some thick skin to have that job, and you should have the ability to individually speak to any of us about any problem, whether it's a personnel problem, whether it's a board problem, whatever. The communication is the base of all appropriate communication. And I think that this is, you're adding more levels that don't need to be there.
Lisa?
I think it's pitting directors against each other, and it's allowing for gossip, and it's inappropriate.
Can
It
you
doesn't
speak
allow
in your
for-
mic? I can't hear you, Lisa, sorry.
I think it's inappropriate for the city administrator to go to other directors and talk about other directors. We are elected by the people to represent the people. We are not here to police each other. We are here to do a job for the citizens, and that's it. For the city administrator to come to other directors and tell information, their opinion, if it needs to be investigated, have the city attorney investigate it. But don't publicly come out here and have the city administrator attack directors to other directors, or publicly come out here and attack other directors without documentation, without proof, without an investigation, because you're opening the city up for a lawsuit for defamation of character. So we got to be careful about what the city administrator could go to the mayor. If we feel like we need another one, maybe we can say the mayor, the vice mayor. But to sit there and have the city administrator be given the authority to sit there and talk about other directors is inappropriate. That's not their job.
I think the city administrator just needs to go to whatever person is.
Being a big boy or girl, being a professional.
Madam Mayor.
Reed had asked for the floor, and then I'll come to you,
Oh, go ahead,
Mindy.
Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm in agreement with Director Burns. I like the idea of saying shall notify the mayor. Matter may be addressed, and in some ways there is implication going from the city administrator to the mayor. I think that gives opportunity for the right people to be contacted.
Mindy?
I agree with that. I think it may be a little bit much expecting the city administrator to go to the person, any seven of us that are their boss, and say, you're not doing something right. It's going to their boss and saying, you've been accused of whatever. And so take the city administrator out of that, put the mayor in that role. Sorry.
The mayor does not have any further authority than what is by state law or voted on by this board.
The
So
mayor
yes, it
is
can
acting as a
be.
neutral mediator.
That's not true. It could be the mayor. Whoever that is griped about by staff, you said the seven of us, it's eight of us. And in
So then
fact,
if
the
it is the
mayor was
mayor, we do have to have
included in
someone
the
else.
paragraph.
Would it be the
So
vice mayor?
there is no reason to involve an additional person because of the risk of the story being changed, whatever. The city administrator, if they're not strong enough, we have all this other stuff in our other board rules that we already approved about administrator board communication. respect, communication must be top, all this stuff. If you can't have an administrator that can sit down individually, as each of us do, to talk about city business, to sit down and address a possible issue with someone that the city administrator works for the city administrator, then why do we even have this form of government? If you're going to put the mayor as somebody who's dealing with a personnel issue, it's beyond the scope of the mayor's job. You don't want to put it on the city administrator to have to deal with their boss. It's not an individual boss. The boss of the city administrator is the board. It's not 8 of us individually. It's 8 of us as a board. And therefore, individually, if any of us 8 have done something that has offended a staffer or, made a request, whatever is against these rules, it's the administrator who should be enforcing these rules on behalf of the staff. If you go and intervene or insert another person, it's just going to get more mixed up, and we're going to have more, as Brad said last meeting, chaos.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
And at this point, at this level, it's not about doing it in a board meeting or publicly. I'll use myself as an example. There's a staff member I ask information from at the beginning of every year, and I wasn't thinking, and I just called them directly. And then after I hung up, I went, oh, I should have let the city administrator know. So then I let the city administrator know. So, we're not talking serious at this level unless I keep doing stuff like that, then it becomes more serious. So it's not even like the mayor would be reprimanding me or whatever. It would just be a, hey, Betsy, remember when you want information, you need to go through the city administrator. It's not at this point, it's not a public discussion. It's not a big deal. Yeah. And so it's not about the mayor having authority. It's not a reprimand. It's just a, hey, remember, don't forget, because that was a genuine, I forgot. And as soon as I remember it, I corrected myself. So, yeah, that's what I'm thinking of with this level, that it's no big deal. Yes, I violated something. I wasn't supposed to. But it's not the mayor or the vice mayor or whoever it is doing a reprimand. It's just a reminder, hey, remember you're supposed to do it this way.
Do you not think that it's going to be, we're talking about city administrator having an issue going to their boss. City administrator might not want to do that to an individual. Do you not think it's going to be a little tough and inappropriate for the mayor to meet with an individual board member and say, oh, you violated passage 7, number 3? I think that is where you can get a little sensitive and a little issue going on, in that the board works together and communicates together. And when you have a risk of some bad blood there because of you have a messenger, basically, it is the responsibility of the city administrator to represent the staff. And it doesn't make a lot of sense to involve one more person.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
So as we look at that on informal resolutions, if you go to the sentence above what we're talking about, and we just strike that bottom sentence completely, remove that issue off, the purpose, so we will end that with the purpose of this communication is to raise the concern in a respectful manner promote mutual understanding, and encourage voluntary compliance with applicable standards. And we strike the rest of it out, and once we get the revisions back and we see the flow of it, a lot of this that we've added is the corrective, right? That is the corrective, because really, at the end of the day, what this opens up is, let's just say later on this year, 6 months from now, underneath this, we can have an open discussion and we make that corrective at this table, right? With full transparency. Talking with some folks in AML and sitting through some interesting workshops that other cities, and they did some scenario playing, is that would be the, I think in this case would make that simpler. It just ties it all in. We remove that out of there. And by the way we have it written, I won't say we're empowered, but I would say as a board, we'd be more comfortable to say, hey, Director Burns, you know, boom, 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 and you're gonna reminder, and you go, hey, I reviewed that, and, you know, I would, you know, I may agree or disagree, you know, whatever that is, but to me, that would be the simplest way to just strike all that out.
So you're ending, so everything below the voluntary compliance with applicable standards, period. Then beginning with if a staff member reports a concern,
All
just
gone.
get rid of that bottom part, okay. Everyone understand where we're at with that and removing that, okay.
I think Christina had gotten down to board action when I.
Yes.
Yes.
She
So
is at
board
board
action.
action.
If, following public discussion, the board determines that concerns regarding a director's or the mayor's conduct remain unresolved, the board may, by majority vote taken in an open meeting, take one or more of the following non-disciplinary actions. 1, formally express concern or disapproval regarding the conduct at issue. 2, adopt a resolution of censure expressing the board's official disapproval of the conduct, and/or make a non-binding request for voluntary resignation from the mayor or the director involved. The board acknowledges and affirms that it has no authority to discipline, suspend, or remove an elected official. Any censure or request for resignation is advisory only and has no legal effect on the official's term of office. Such actions do not constitute findings of a legal wrongdoing and do not replace any process provided by state law.
Mayor.
Yes.
So in this section, and this is for you, Heather, if following public discussion, the board determines the concerns regarding the director or the mayor conducts remain unresolved, and the board majority vote taken in an open meeting, take one or more of the following non-disciplinary actions. So if the board's gonna make a decision on non-disciplinary actions, and my history of being a vice president of human resources, so allegations, you can just come in here and I can just make any allegation I want against anybody I want because I don't like them. Documentation's not required, investigation's not required. I can just try to destroy someone's reputation because I just want to do that. And so what's preventing this from defamation of character?
I mean, well, that's a legal standard, and as an elected official, there is a little bit of a different standard there. So the standard is not the same.
You can be sued. If I come up here and I do defamation of character, you can be sued if
Right.
you make statements that are not factual, that are not true, that somebody just wants to destroy your reputation or your testimony. How does this prevent that?
It doesn't. It would work the same way as it would in real life, you know, if you think someone is saying something about you that's not true, if you
But
want
we're
to sue
setting up
them for
board rules here.
defamation,
We're setting up board rules that we're saying we are going to follow. But if you're going to tell me to follow a rule, then you make that rule where you can't just come up here and accuse me of something.
and I don't think the rule says that, does it?
Well, it doesn't say, it says you can take it to the public. I mean, it doesn't say anything about requiring documentation. It doesn't say anything about, if you're going to take it publicly and you're going to make an allegation against somebody, even in court, you have to prove that the person's guilty. You can't just be making statements about them.
Well, court would be a higher standard, I think. I think that in court, yes, you would have to prove that. I think the difference is if you're alleging that someone is defaming you, the burden is on you to prove that that's what happened, not the other person.
So they can just come out here and make accusations and not have any documentation or...
I mean, the answer to that question is yes, Lisa, and I think you know that. But that can happen anywhere, right? And if you guys want to add something that's requiring proof to be provided, I guess that's up to you guys to do that. I tried to draft a rule as best I could, given
You came up with these all by yourself?
the information that I was given.
All these
A
came up with-
directive.
Oh, you got a directive from, who was your directive from?
I was asked to help draft a rule, yes, by Betsy.
Okay. So can you, if say that there was an allegation against me, and it was pretty serious, can you do the investigation? I know we can't ask staff to investigate us. Can you do the investigation?
Normally, that is not something I would do. You could have we could ask someone to come in and do that. It's hard to answer these questions with a hypothetical. There are a lot of different options.
She could do it if the board voted that the firm do it, because the attorney works for the board. So the only way that could be done is if that was included in their job through a board vote.
Each time?
If there was any additional investigation, yeah. If
So
there's
would we not put
something
that in
brought to
this?
this
If we're gonna-
board
if
that
we're
is
gonna-
actual, that you're wanting an investigation, then it would have to be voted on by the board for the city attorney to do it. Doesn't mean somebody else couldn't do it, but.
Who else, what other option would you have?
Madam Mayor? So my understanding that I'm not into this allegation thing or hypothetical. This is driven by action. So the only corrective would be one of us on the board through a action, which there's no hypotheticals to. That board member actually did that. So that is an end of an ending.
How do you know they actually did that?
Yeah, that was my question,
Because somebody
too.
said that? That's not, how do you know somebody does something?
Well, you were in HR.
Yeah, I had documentation, and I had signatures behind that, and I had proof behind it. I never made an
I'm not talking
accusation.
about board member on board member here. I don't know where you're coming from. I'm talking
that's what
about
this is?
the regulations here on staff and following that procedure. That internal coming in, there have been actions by this board that need correctives, and we're making those correctives. And so moving forward, it is through an individual board member's actions. We've had executive sessions. Director Wiles has brought the question, right? And we all had a discussion. We shot it down. The mayor came out. No decision was made. This is kind of the same concept, just trying to keep that in check. So, to me, it's isn't that this whole that brought us to this point?
I appreciate you trying to explain it. I guess I'm missing something here. And maybe it was discussed at the 5:30 meeting. So if somebody accuses another, if a director is accusing another director, or if a city administrator is accusing a director, or the mayor comes and says something about a director, we can just come out here publicly and make accusations about one another.
Kind of like, it reminds me of social media.
High school, actually.
No, it's just like social media sites. You get a lot of information on there, and if you're doing your decision process based on social media, right? It's that same thing. When I would use myself as an example, it's the first time running for an elected position to where social media, and it'll be interesting this time around, actually had an impact. And so a lot of accusations of made were of candidates. I happen to be that candidate, right? And so as an elected official, kind of like a city administrator, you got to have a little bit thicker skin. Wouldn't we all agree on that? So this allegation thing, to me, it is a action. If a board member makes it, there's no allegation, it is a fact.
But where do you get that back from? Is it
Well, I think-
documentation?
If I may, I think my direction was if there's an ongoing problem, it's been witnessed by people, it's documented, if there's an ongoing issue, at that point, I was asked to create a way for it to come before the board, because we have to be mindful of FOIA. We can't be in executive session all the time. There are some things that we can't use that for, which I tried to draw the distinction between the informal, hey, this is what happened, I'm coming to you and telling you this, as opposed to this has happened repeatedly, and now it's something that the board needs to address. That's what I was trying to do.
Madam Mayor?
And I just want to prevent false allegations, like I can just come to the board and make an accusation against Brad or
But it's
David.
defined. It's defined here, right off the bat. It says when a director or the mayor observes conduct. That's what Brad was saying. It's not an it's not an allegation, it's an observation, it's an action. It's when a director or mayor observes. So I have to see you
Where do you see the word observe?
under informal resolution. I mean, that,
I don't have it in front of me, but.
yeah.
Oh.
I mean, that,
I
it
thought we
says
were
to
at the bottom
me,
of the page.
when a director or the mayor observes conduct by another director or the mayor that appears inconsistent with the board's adopted rules of procedure or standards of conduct, the observing official is encouraged, when appropriate, to address the matter directly and professionally.
How do you observe if I make a phone call to an employee that's not a board of director? I mean,
I
that's
haven't
not a
observed
city.
that.
Well, hopefully that won't be something that gets brought up before the board, right? I mean, I can't address every contingency, which I wish I could.
I
but
wanna prevent-
I understand what you're saying, though. I hear what you're
want to
saying.
prevent that because it's a real thing.
I
There has
mean,
been
I hear you.
allegations made, very clear allegations made, and names were not named, but specific incidents were defined, which does not require a name, and we know that. And so I want to prevent attacks and false allegations and gossip, and I just want to prevent, you can't, just because you don't like another board of director, agree with them politically, you can't just go out and try to destroy them.
No, I mean, I agree with you completely, and I understand where you're coming from, but, again, you guys are elected officials, you answer to the constituents, and the public has a right to know what's going on, and if there's something improper going on, that is something that needs to be addressed before all of you, unless it's something that can be, legally considered in an executive session. And so that's what I was trying to clarify here, to make it as simple as possible without, implicating FOIA or, overstepping, ethics laws. There's a whole code section worth of ethics laws that applies to you guys. So, I was trying to incorporate all of that, or not overstep all of those laws while also doing what I was asked to do. So.
And Madam Mayor, and I do understand what Lisa's saying, and that was one of the things that doing an investigation was one of the things that I had wanted in it, and I had suggested the attorney, and I suggested others, and it just wasn't appropriate, so.
I think we have to be careful, because if we're given direct guidelines on allowing an opportunity for defamation of character, we're allowing the city to be in a possible lawsuit. And I know that's from attorney to decide, and a judge is the ultimate decision maker. And every attorney's going to disagree.
I hear your concerns, and they are not valid. That's a double negative. That's horrible grammar, but, yeah. Oh, and that's all something for you guys to consider. These, again, can be revised. I was, this is a starting point.
I think having rules is great, but I don't think the rules should allow for an opportunity for a potential lawsuit or harm to other individuals.
Yes.
I think what Director Hunt, read, that's where we're at. I'm not sure where that other's going. I don't live in that realm, so it's just the action as the intent on that is here. I don't know who's doing allegations. I can't stop the gossip in Siloam. And if you're using social media threads, it actually started on the Lucas Roebuck, and I debated with him when I was sitting in Director Wild's seat. And so that social media platform, they've had a conference workshop at the state capitol. I think, it's an issue out there. I'm just looking at what we've approved and what we've read tonight for that corrective. And even at the end of that, if this board got together next month and gave me and said, hey, Director Burns, you did this, and I would say, I did, and then you would, there's not much else you could do except make me aware of that. That's really where we're at with that. There's no, we can't kick anybody off the board that I'm aware of. You're stuck with me for 3 years, at least. These two guys, these two people are. But that's really, I think, the intent of it. That other level out there, I can't recall, observing board meetings, and I've watched a lot of interesting behavior over the years from boards going, I don't know when we started televising, was it Jim Coral or Latham? I don't remember when we started doing it, but that's when we started watching them at the firehouse. And where we could actually, whoever's watching us now, you can actually see those board meetings. And I've watched board members leave the meeting abruptly, and the mayor just sitting there going, I can't even, get it back in order. So, and I am not, I think as elected officials under ethics, anybody asks me of a board member, as an example, awards, if they have a problem in a ward, my direction is you contact that ward member, and I'm at large. You need to go through them first. Even in here, I feel like there's a chain of command, right? I mean, there's 4 wards. I'm at large, and then if it isn't addressed, Director Wiles and I have had that conversation here with a street project, right? That started and blah 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 and information, and so. I mean, that's how it goes, but it's just a direct action that's apparent. It's not gossip. It's not an allegation. It's real. And we have to be open to accept our actions. And we, at the last, you weren't at that last, but we had, I call them a come to Jesus meeting in an open discussion, right? And we had some of this discussion. And I think we can all look at ourselves and go, hey, going in 26, we've gone through a couple of city administrators. Where are we taking this city? What direction are we going? I think that's the intent of that. I don't have any allegations, by the way, and I don't have any rumors to give you. But if there was an action, this gives us that to put that action in place. The question is, as a board member, you know, am I going to take that corrective? And how am I going to apply it? Or if I don't think it applies to me, you can look at all of us and go, thank you. And then move about our city business.
And Director Rissler, I think you have to remember that all of these rules have to be read in conjunction with the remainder of the rules, right? At which there's a code of conduct in there too that says, yes, you shouldn't be misrepresenting stuff to the board. You can't be, you know, acting dishonestly. So, I mean, hopefully everybody takes those things to heart as well. And so this is not just an isolated standalone policy either. So just remember that. And if we need to make changes, let's make changes.
Yes.
I think there's a difference being accused of something on Facebook where it goes rampant than sitting here and accusing other directors. My job as a director is to represent the citizens that elected me. My job is not to worry about what these other directors are doing. It's none of my business. I'm not here to tell them how to be directors. My job is my citizens. I will stand up for my citizens. I will keep communication with the city on this. But to come into a public meeting and demand a resignation, which that was said, well, we can't demand a resignation. Well, no, we're voted in by the people. Only the people can remove us from our seats. And why would I want to tell the other directors how to do their jobs? That we're individuals for a purpose. That's the reason we're elected, is to represent the individuals in our areas, and they wanted us to represent them. So I'm not here to tell the other directors. I'm not telling them. I would never say, I want somebody on this board to resign. I think that's going above our elected duties. Our
You're
duties is to
saying, you're
take care of
saying
our
that was said in a board meeting?
Go back and listen to the last meeting. It was said,
To
we cannot.
request a
we
board member
cannot-
resign?
We cannot tell a board of director to resign. And it was indicated that that's what they wanted to do, but they couldn't do it because they couldn't have their executive session to.
Madam Mayor, I think Heather said something very important, and that was that this is to be taken in context with the other things that actually you were not here earlier, because we did discuss them in the workshop. And it's just sort of a general code of conduct and expectations, a lot of it to protect staff. And those are the kinds of things I think if we observe, we would say that's going against our code of conduct, and we have a concern with that. So it's not, I don't like Brad, so I'm going to say, something bad about Brad. It's more related to the code of conduct. Do I have that right?
Madam Mayor, why are they saying Brad a lot and not
Because
Director
you're
Burns?
talking so much
I know you
tonight,
don't like Brad,
it's just.
but you really shouldn't like Director Burns. But,
Director
no,
Brad, how
it
about
goes
that?
back
I
to.
do respect you, and I apologize.
I can't, no, I'm fine with it. But it is, we have, you guys,
He's just
you
easy talking.
folks on that end, you represent, the only ones that voted you in are your ward. Us three down here were voted in by the whole village, right? That's who had to vote for us. But it's just the ward that's voting for you. That's all you're representing. We're city government. That's all we are. Somehow this got blown out of proportion, just like this tonight. We've got to do our best due diligence to show up for the workshops, to attend all this, so we process that to get to the end. So my suggestion is Director Allen, is that we adopt the old rules, we come back with revisions, and we can finish hashing that out. And if we want to, unless Director Rissler wants to make a motion and strike some stuff, that's kind of where we're at, right?
I just want to make sure, I'm okay with protecting staff. I'm not okay for saying, okay, so I guess this policy is it's not the board rules I have an issue with. It looked good to me. I mean, I know there was a few you guys had to strike through, but this one there's some concerns about. And so I think that we're growing up, we're elected, we're responsible, professional adults, and so this is the issue with me.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, David.
Just to summarize this page here that we are reviewing, I think Mindy made a great point. The informal resolution paragraph says director or mayor observes conduct. The next paragraph says consideration by the board if the same or similar conduct continues after informal notice. And then below that says, for purposes of this policy, serious conduct may include serious conduct, may include conduct that is unlawful, conduct that constitutes intimidation or threats, knowingly misrepresenting material facts in an official capacity. You may do it on Facebook, but you're not an official on Facebook doing that. If you do it as a representative of the board, that's an official capacity. Or conduct that materially interferes with the lawful operation of the board, staff, or the public's ability to conduct business. So all of those thresholds, all of those hurdles have to be cleared before it would even come to this board for an open discussion. So I think there's a lot of coverage here that protects all of us as well as gives the rights to point out repetitive conduct that is not being changed.
I don't know when other board of directors are doing something. I'm not part of that gossip chain. I don't know when a director's doing something wrong. So that's why this doesn't make sense to me. I don't know, how am I gonna make judgment and ask somebody to voluntarily resign when I don't know what the other directors are doing?
That's
Because
why there would be open discussion if there was something that was being done wrong. And this is written. It is not a matter of hearing things. If it was open discussion, the facts would be presented like in a trial. This would not just be gossip or whatever. This would be, here's the rules, this is what we're going by, and these are the thresholds that have to be cleared before we even get to anybody being asked to resign. There's no request that I know of or desire by anybody I know of this board wanting someone else to leave the board. So I think we're trying to set an advanced board of rules that covers more than what we've had before.
And I think that's fine, but nowhere in here does it say that when it comes to the public, that the public will see the evidence or the facts. And the public should. If they're going to hear about it, they should be able to see the facts.
So at this point in time, is there, because we are going to be doing some changes, is any part of this that the board would like to have removed? Or,
I think the only thing we removed is what Brad suggested, that
right, at the bottom there, that
of
last paragraph.
informal resolution,
Yeah,
the last sentence. Yep,
yes, that's what I show, that's the only thing that we're changing.
that's what I.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, to
Yes.
address Lisa's concern under consideration of the board, what if we said, if the same or similar conduct continues after informal notice, or if the conduct is of serious nature, and if there is evidence proving these things, or,
Evidence, documentation, facts, I mean, that stuff matters.
I mean, we could put that
So-
on there.
Yeah, so maybe like, or if the conduct is of serious nature, the matter may be placed on the agenda for discussion.
How about just adding an any relevant evidence?
Right, yes.
The matter and any relevant evidence, is that what you're talking about putting it?
Again, I don't have a copy, so I'm not looking at it, but wherever that would fit.
Right.
Yeah, I think Lisa's wanting to make sure that there is relevant evidence before it's even put on the agenda, so.
I think the point you said, Mindy, if the conduct of a serious nature with proven evidence.
There is proven
Yeah,
evidence.
with proof, yeah.
Only
Madam
by
Mayor?
that being provided would it then come to an agenda
And
item.
I'm okay with that. I think you should have to. I don't think it should be based off of gossip or rumors, because you can ruin somebody's
I think
reputation. and
the
it's not.
city administrator and the city attorney would have to approve of proven evidence being actual evidence before it could be put on the agenda. I don't think it could just be a director saying, well, yeah, this is evident. I think those two together would have to,
I agree with that. I think, it would have to be something that they felt like, after discussion with the director, that there was sufficient proof on evidence that there was conduct unbecoming of a director, if you
And
will.
I'm not trying to be
Yeah.
difficult. I
Yeah.
just think that it's important, you don't want to destroy someone's testimony or
so we're going to
reputation
add with
because
proven evidence.
right.
Okay, right there after
Thank you,
serious
Mindy.
nature.
That was a good suggestion.
Yeah,
And with that, Madam Mayor,
yes.
Wait,
Wait, that's it.
before you, I assume you're going to wrap it up, David?
Yes.
Okay, just one more thing. If the evidence includes staff should not, I don't think staff should be named publicly. See what I mean? To protect them.
Betsy, I think it has to be up to those two people together to decide what is proven evidence, and if it is serious enough nature to be unlawful, intimidation of threats, misrepresentation, or interfering with the lawful operation of the city, it may have to involve a city personnel. So if it follows any of those, breaking the law, whatever, it may have to, but those two people would make that determination.
And there is in one of these that we've discussed, there is protection for people that come forward and give you information and have something to show. There is protection for that person.
And we're not going to hit
only
every
just-
contingency, I don't think either, so.
You can't cover
yeah.
every
Yeah.
single situation. You just,
Yeah,
I'm good with that.
yeah, good with that, okay. One more thing, before, because we are making these adjustments, and in the resolution itself, it states that by state law requires an organizational meeting during the month of January. And then on further down, it says during January we will do this. But then there is a specific line here that says, under organizational meeting, it says, it is the board's desire that said activities occur during the first regularly scheduled meeting in January. That is contradictive to what these other spots that it talks about a first meeting in January, not just the first regularly scheduled meeting. So I think we need to correct that. It needs to be one or the other. It needs to be consistent through the whole resolution, whatever that needs to be by state law. But I don't think it needs to say in one part, it's going to be during the month of January, and then it says it has to be during the first regularly scheduled meeting.
I think state law says if possible.
I think that's right.
I think you're right,
Yeah.
trying to pull it up right now.
Yeah, that's not what this says. It doesn't say. So I agree. I think it should be in the month of January because, that's where we are, so
It was just brought up.
I just think it needs to
at
just be
AML too.
consistent, yeah. So, anyway,
Madam Mayor, I
Yes.
make a motion that we approve the previously approved rules of order and procedures of the board that were approved in 2025 as our board rules for 2026.
so we have a motion and a second to approve the rules and procedures that are in place at this time. Roll call.
Barnes.
Yes.
Wiles.
Yes.
Hunt.
Yes.
Rissler.
Yes.
Allen.
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Blair.
Yes.
Motion is approved. So we will move forward then. I think we've kind of all agreed that the first meeting in February, you'll be bringing something to us. Okay. So with that, we will move to the administrator's report.
So this, thank you, Mayor. Purchases in excess of $30,000 include the following budgeted vehicles: a Chevy pickup for community development in the amount of $37,800, a Chevy double cab truck for streets in the amount of $38,361, and a Dodge Ram 4x4 for public works in the amount of $42,678. The resolution that was previously passed, I will be bringing forward another one in the next couple of meetings for wire only, but the current resolution is no longer valid, so, for utilities. As far as announcements, this past week, city representatives attended AML's winter meeting. And during a special luncheon, the Director of Community Services was presented with a Trendsetter City Award for the Public Works, Environment, and Green Management category for sanitation's continued efforts in revitalizing our recycling programs and increasing participation. The Sweetheart Ball, that weekend will be February 6th through the 7th, and it will include a family formal and daddy-daughter dance, and tickets are available for purchase. So going forward, there will be a new staff report, and I'm going to hand it off to Brent to have the first bit of information provided to you. He is here in place of Chris Paxton, but there are certain things that the UDC provided for the Planning Commission to approve, but there's an appeal, and so he will tell you what was approved and when the appeal is, how long the board has to appeal to bring that to the board. And like I said, that'll be a written report going forward. So, Brent?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Directors, Brent O'Neill, City Engineer. Last week, the Siloam Springs Planning Commission unanimously approved the plat for the Chick-fil-A on US 412 East with certain conditions. Per the new planning procedures, the Board of Directors may appeal Planning Commission rulings within 10 business days per Section 3546 of the Unified Development Code. The appeal deadline for this specific project would be January 28th, 2026. The last thing of note is the Planning Commission training that is scheduled for this Friday. The meeting is open to the public to provide information on requirements and procedures and legal processes for development, permitting, and code enforcement. Staff are looking at the possibility of postponing the training due to the possible severe winter weather, which may be moving into our region at the end of the week, and we'll keep everybody posted if that does move.
Thank you, Brent.
Thank you.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you very much. So with that, we will move to our director's reports. I would like to remind anyone that has not turned in their financial statement to city clerk, be sure and get that done right away.
And I'm not the last.
I don't believe so, no. I mean,
Made my day.
so, anyway, she needs that before the end of the month, so. Congratulations to Jason and his department. What a great job, being awarded the Trendsetter Award for the recycling for the whole state was a great accomplishment, and I think something that our city can be very proud of. I know I've had the opportunity to be present whenever they've been awarding each month the business for their participation in the recycling program, kind of leading the way for the other businesses. And they are always very excited whenever you go in and give this award to them. They're excited about the program, and it just encourages them more, just the fact that they're being recognized for doing something to help their city. So it's a great program, and I appreciate what they've done, and hope they continue to do that. So with that, I will come to the directors. We'll start with you, Mindy. We'll end with you, David. And so you have the floor, Mindy.
I don't know about any of the other directors, but I'm not going to do anything to stop or hinder the development of the Chick-fil-A. I don't think that would be a very popular decision. I just want to thank people for the condolences about my father. It was a nice celebration of service we had, or a celebration of life service that we had for him. Sometimes you don't really know about the impact that people have until they're gone. And my dad was a track coach and a teacher for many years, and 11 members of the Razorback, the very first Razorback ladies track team, for which he was the very first coach, attended his service. And that was very special, but we've just had a lot of people reaching out, telling about the impact he had as a coach and a teacher, and I appreciate that, so thank you. And I made the mistake of reading through all of the minutes and your condolences that you offered at the last time, and made it a little harder to get through to the next part of it, but thank you.
Thank you, Mindy. Yeah,
Nothing tonight.
nothing?
I could,
Okay.
but I won't. I'll
Okay.
spare you.
And we appreciate that. Thank you very much. Betsy?
Congratulations to Jason Davis and the recycling. I think that's fantastic. I love that we're doing more and more recycling, and I appreciate all Mindy, like doing revisions and all the discussion on all of it. And I'm looking forward to this year and all of us being on the board together and working together as a team.
Really? Thank you. Lisa?
No comment.
None? You sure?
It's a long night. We
Reed?
still got chores.
Reed?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I had the opportunity to attend the Arkansas Municipal League last week. Always appreciate that, a chance to learn some new things, meet some new people, but also the camaraderie for those who were able to attend from our city. It's good to know. I did find that Director Burns, not Brad, had a much more exciting life than I have, so you'll probably be seeing his movie, but mine would be more on the elevator side of it. But it's good to know one of us has had a pretty exciting life. Jason Davis, good to see the award that he received. It's not something you do just in one day, but it's something that you continue to do, and then to be able to work with that and inspire those around you. I think that says a lot about the department, a lot about the city, a lot about us. Please prepare for some cold weather this weekend. I'll speak for Betsy. Take care of your pets. Director Blair, sorry. Take care of your pets as the temperatures get a little colder. When you go to the AML, you find out a little bit about who you are when you hear things that are going on with everybody else. Siloam Springs is still an awesome place to be, to live in, to represent, and we are that beacon on a hill. We have the opportunity to set example, and glad to be part of that. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Brad? Director
Madam Mayor, I have
Burns.
no idea what he's talking about. I just drove down. We took the city vehicle, tried to conserve money. That was our kill, but AML was, the theme was call to serve, so I've got long notes. I'm just gonna give a couple of takeaways, and I think it's for us as a board more than the citizens, but we spoke of regulatory rethinking, so I think that's a key on that one there. A couple of high notes, you're fundamental to Arkansas. We're made for this time. This is our purpose. Build on our success and adapt for new challenges. So that was speaking to board members. I think it applies to us well. And then one thing that's coming up, it's going to be issue 3. And the neat part about issue 3, well, it's an interesting conversation at that level because there are some towns out there that we were using an example on incentives. So we may not all agree or disagree on incentives, but we did a pretty significant package recently. And I think we're ahead of the curve of the state. I just give you a heads up. I told Mark Hayes if he wanted to use this for an example, please contact the city administrator. But I think we're on the right track with incentives. I think issue 3 would be wise for us all to review it and encourage the folks that we know. I think it's vital for our community with the information we just got from RDOT. And one of the things Reed left out was a young couple. I thought you were going to give this great story, Reed, about the young couple at the breakfast table. And they live in Gentry. They work at other cities. But they love coming to Siloam, and if we can get the things that we're getting, they would prefer to spend their monies here in Siloam. And so I think over the next, well, I don't think, it's going to happen over the next 5 or 10 years. The question is, how are we going to adapt to that change and those challenges? And we've shown a little bit of that. We stumbled a little, but I think we're on the right path, and I'm excited about that. So thank you.
Thank you, Brad. And just to add to what you said about they like Siloam and enjoy coming to Siloam, the mayor of Decatur recently resigned, and he told me in a meeting that we were in that as soon as he was retired and got his home sold, he wanted to live in Siloam Springs. So I think that speaks well of our community. David?
That's a good story, but I had remembered hearing about that too. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Congrats to Jason on the Trendsetter City Award. I will say that only since our city staff have made it a priority, like Chavez and some of the others, and take such pride in it, have I been recycling all my plastic. I'm saving the planet, dang it. I'm doing my part. So it is important that once people know how involved the city is and what we're doing, and that we have, like this, set the standard. I think it gets more people that might not ever really get into it to actually, I've got my plastic sitting out tonight because I know tomorrow morning they're gonna be there, and if I don't get it out tonight, I'll miss it. So, and we all go through a lot of plastic that does not need to be in a landfill. I thought tonight we had some good board interaction, as we did at the last December meeting. I felt like it is good to have the give and take, the debate, the ideas thrown out for each of us to mull over. I was going to say, I was not here at the last meeting to give my condolences to Mindy on it is very tough, losing your father when he's your hero. And so I sympathize with you on that regard and understand. I wanted to make an announcement. I know Lindsay's going to thank me later, but Chamber Banquet coming up February 5th, 6 o'clock, JBU Simmons Great Hall. The theme is Building a Healthier Community. And so just wanted to make sure everybody knew that that's coming up if you need to get a ticket. They're going to be selling out. I appreciate our staff setting up the Planning Commission training not just for the Planning Commission, but for anyone who wishes to learn more about city code and things like that. So I appreciate that a lot. I recently was emailed had a long Q&A with the citizen about why did I support incentives to bring Academy Sports here, and that we already have 2 sporting goods stores here. And what it came down to, and they fully grasped it after I explained it, was that, I mean, even before I was mayor, but especially when I was mayor, I got emails weekly. We want a Hobby Lobby and we want a Chick-fil-A, as if the mayor could snap their fingers and get them. People think that, they really do, that all you got to do is make a call. So it has been a real desire by so many thousands of people in this community and around this community that those 2 businesses be brought to Siloam. They're very well-run, Christian family-owned companies. They put out good product. There's so many arts and crafts people who make weekly trips to Hobby Lobby, and they'll be able to do that now here if we had voted Academy Sports. If we had turned it down, we could have written off ever getting a Hobby Lobby. That was how it was presented to me privately, and the people who told me that knew what they were talking about. So that was really my basis for voting to support the incentives for Academy. And Academy is not just a sporting goods store. They do a lot more than that. The argument was you're going to put out Hibbett or Dunham's business. I don't believe so. I believe people in Northeast Oklahoma and the west side of town are going to continue to go to Dunham's, and in the future, people on the east side of town will go to Academy. It will be a matter of convenience. If you go to big Walmart, you can go to Academy. If you already live on the west side and go to neighborhood Walmart, you're going to go to Dunham. It's just, I mean, we're growing, in my opinion, too fast, but we can't do anything to stop it. And so it's one of those things where you say, it's going to be supported. These businesses, there's enough to go around. I don't think anybody's going to lose the customers they already have. And so I wanted people to understand that, yeah, now we're getting Chick-fil-A. Well, Hobby Lobby, hopefully, is down the road and will be the second thing that people have been wanting for a long time. So that was my explanation. Anyway, Happy New Year, everyone. And thank you again for the board interaction. I appreciate it. I'll make a motion to adjourn, Madam Mayor.
Have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
I have one thing, sorry. I appreciate the email or letter you sent us from the Western Benton County Partnership. They're having the meeting to discuss Forward 2050 is the name of the plan, future development of roadways in Northwest Arkansas. And what is going to be discussed is Arkansas Highway 59 widened to 5 lanes from Gentry to Gravette. Arkansas 72 widened to 4 lanes from 59 in Gravette east to I-49. US 412 widened road to 6 lanes from the Siloam city limits west to the existing 6 lanes. And that's city limit where the east city limit, right? That's what I understand. Yes. And then one that I think everybody will be glad, Arkansas Highway 16 widened to 4 lane from US 412 to East Kenwood Street. So this is what is being put in the works by the Western Benton County Partnership and the Northwest Arkansas Regional Planning Commission. But all of these things take time, and you got to start with one small step and just letting everybody know that it has begun. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, David. And I'll just add to that, and the Western Benton County Group is really a great representative for our side of Benton County. And they have an opportunity that we, as just separate individuals or boards from each city, they have the input into the regional planning, which gives us a voice in a very, very strong organization that has a lot to do with what happens and the money we get from RDOT and what comes to us. So I think it's very important that we understand that they are a great thing to have. And Mark Simmons had a lot to do with starting that.
When I
So-
was mayor, the mayors on West Side would get together, but we would always commiserate that we were treated like redheaded stepchildren
we
with
were-
Bentonville.
Yep.
But now, thanks to the setup of Western Benton County by Delia and Mark Simmons and several, forward-thinking people that we needed a voice, a body to be that voice. So we
right.
appreciate him a lot.
Absolutely. So I have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.